Hello, everyone. This is the HalfGen podcast, and if if you're not watching the video this week, I'm sorry, because that was fun. That was a fun thing we just did.
I popped a blood vessel in my neck. Oh,
We're a little late, but this is the May episode of the podcast.
this is I checked. I was looking at our Discord chat because I was looking for those Attack on Titan memes from our Attack on Titan cast. Exactly a month ago today was our Attack on Titan spoiler cast recorded.
So we're good.
We're good.
We're good.
Yeah, we're just a beginning of the month podcast. It's all how you look at it.
I mean, we're 50-50 at this point, I feel like. So I don't know what we are yet.
We're everything.
I mean, the problem was, there was, my Steam Deck got shipped like the day before we were supposed to record, and we both agreed that we wanted to be able to talk about the Steam Deck while we had it, like while it was kind of still fresh. So we postponed. I got my Steam Deck on, last Sunday, so like 6 days ago as of this recording. And then Sony announces a state of play. For Thursday, we were going to record on Wednesday. And so we agreed, okay, we gotta catch that. So that's what we do. And here we are, Saturday. Got out of work a little early. We are testing a new recording thing. Google Meet is really cool and does a lot of extremely awesome things. And then you record it with itself. And it does a really kind of piss poor job of doing what I need it to do. And so OBS saves the day. And I get to record the window, but it still does all the things I need it to do. And I'm just hoping that all the audio is kind of leveled and stuff. And those are things we're going to figure out later this week. We got to get this done. And so if I'm much louder than Ross, I apologize. Or if he's louder than me for some reason, I apologize.
Yeah, well, I'd just like to thank OBS, which obviously people generally listening to this know what that is.
Yes.
But little do they know that today it stands for something else. Overly beautiful and sexy, for helping us record this podcast. Thanks, OBS, not sponsored.
Thanks, OBS. The best of open source.
We have some stuff to talk about.
We have a lot to talk about. Okay, what do we want to talk about first? I'm leaving it entirely up to you.
Let's knock the state of play out because there wasn't any huge stuff there.
Yeah. Are you going to just run down what was there? I know Fanbyte has a good list.
Yeah. By time.
Oh, as I go to take a drink, I'm like trying to drink. He says, "By time." I'm like, oh shit! Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Hey, go ahead and take a drink.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So the state of play, there wasn't anything crazy announced. There was some new stuff for some games we already knew about. We got an official release window for Final Fantasy 16. Which is summer 2023. It looks very pretty. It looks like an evolved version of Final Fantasy 15's combat system, which I still need to play at some point. And the trailer was good.
It looks wild for a Final Fantasy game because it looks like there's no like party or anything. You're just a dude running around doing crazy flip in the air combos and stuff. It's like, what if Dark Souls was fast and arcadey and a Final Fantasy game? And the summons look dope.
Yeah, the summons, and there was an interview after the trailer was released with one of the team members with IGN. And they revealed the game can currently be played from start to finish, and they're using literally all of this time from now until summer next year for polish and to make
Excellent.
sure it's as perfect as possible,
And to buy
which I'm
time for
very
Final
excited
Fantasy
about.
VII Remake too.
Also that,
No,
also that.
I can't stop, man. I really just need that
I
to
know.
happen.
We all
As
know.
excited as I am for 16, that's the Final Fantasy game my heart requires.
Yeah, yeah.
But
We got uh Horizon Call of the Mountain, the Horizon VR game. We got an extended kind of look at the gameplay. The story set in between the first two games. Um, Players will become, and this is from IGN, players will become a former Shadow Karja warrior named Rios, who is looking to redeem himself by investigating a grave new threat to the Sundom. He's great at climbing and archery. Cool.
yeah, I still
Um,
want to figure out how linear or not that game is.
yeah, so it says here again, everything I'm going to read about State of Play is from IGN. Thank you, IGN. Um, Alongside the story mode, there will also be a river ride mode that will take players down a river to enjoy the beautiful scenery. So,
So that's the on
um,
rails part.
potentially, yeah, because we saw a lot of climbing and stuff. So we'll see. I don't think there's been a from the ground up VR game that's completely open world. We've had like games made before that have been adapted into VR, like Skyrim and Fallout. They're open world, but that's a lot to ask for, especially how good that game looks for being on VR. Like they started out with like a PSVR 2 showcase of games, which I'm very excited about because I'm excited for PSVR 2.
That system, and a lot of people are really pointing out, like, no disrespect to stuff like Oculus and things like that, but
Excuse me, MetaQuest.
no offense to Oculus or anything like that, but nobody has mine's over there. Nobody has a better kind of setup than PlayStation, because you have this dedicated hardware. All the games are built for this dedicated hardware. It's one plug into the system, and it's getting the support of a major AAA publisher. And Sony has not vetoed the PlayStation VR yet, and so they're probably not going to, because we're getting another one. So it really just feels like Sony's all in on this on VR, and now I'm just waiting for the chips to fall. Pardon me. I'll talk about that later. Does Valve put Half-Life Alyx on this hardware? Because if it can run it, I feel like they're crazy not to, and I feel like Sony's
That'd be
crazy
huge.
not to ask and just be like, "Hey, can we get Half-Life Alyx running on PSVR 2?" I think it benefits both of them, because that generates excitement for VR, which is what Valve wants. And so if PSVR 2 does really well, then Valve could be like, "Hey, if you really dig this VR, we've got this ecosystem, we've got this incredibly premium headset, the Index." And they use similar controllers, so I imagine it's an easier transition than most. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. I
kind of
don't see
expecting that.
Yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't do it. I mean, you can already play Half-Life Alyx basically on any headset already, with the exception of the existing PSVR. Like, I mean, you have AirLink for the Quest 2. I've played Half-Life Alyx on my Quest 2. Like, you can play it on any headset, so I don't know why they would shrug off the opportunity for such a. The PSVR fan base is a dedicated fan base.
I have a
Like,
question for you.
what is the question?
Sony is embracing PC more and more, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yep.
But do you think Sony creates a plug and play solution to use the PSVR 2 on a PC? Plug
I
that
could see it.
USB-C, have a program they can run, and use PSVR 2 to play PC. I'm just thinking there's people who like VR, the PC crowd, who just don't want to buy a PlayStation 5. But if
Yeah.
Sony has a great headset at a great price, and then Sony also decides, hey, you know what? We're going to take something like Horizon Call of the Mountain and release it on Steam, because Steam has VR and Steam is a valuable partner for VR. If Sony can have a thing, or if Valve just makes like a back end, kind of like what they do for the controllers, and it's just, hey, you know what? Plug this into your computer in a USB-C and we'll just make it work.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I feel like
think
that's a huge potential path, and I don't think they're going to go that way.
I
But
don't think they'll go that way at launch. I could see them going through it in maybe a year or two after launch.
I think that might be when we see it, but I feel like that's a
Mhm.
huge missed opportunity if they don't target, hey, you can use this on your PlayStation 5, but what if you could also use it on your PC? And then, because Sony made the most comfortable VR headset.
I was just about to say that. They made like, the best headset, not the best, like, tech specs, but in terms of the best feeling headset. Like, the Quest 2 is not super comfortable, for me at least, with the default strap, which is why I had to get this Pro strap. That basically makes
I
it
like the
much
default.
more.
It doesn't bother me, but that's me.
Oh,
That's me.
yeah, so for me, the strap, the front part becomes very top heavy because there's nothing to counter the weight at the back. So it presses in on the eyes for longer play sessions. But like I had to pay an extra $50, I think, to make this comfortable to play for any length of time with this strap. And the PSVR was comfortable from day one. The only thing limiting the PSVR was the tech inside of it. That was like
And the tech
360p
running it,
YouTube and the tech
the
running it. Yeah,
console running it, but
sure.
PS5 is already much stronger. And just imagine, like, I just couldn't imagine if Sony spends all this time and resource making these VR headsets and limits them to their console when they could sell them to people who don't have a PlayStation 5 but want a quality headset. I
Yeah.
feel like it's foolish not to do that.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. So I'm very excited for PSVR 2. And what you were doing with your mouse earlier, I have my mouse for my desktop right next to me, but I'm using my laptop, but I don't have enough USB ports to plug in my
You need
mouse dongle.
like a little just USB thing to plug
A
into one of
little
them.
USB hub. Yeah.
Yeah. I bought one that is deck compatible
Oh, nice. Nice.
because I want to do some stuff with that. It has
Yeah.
an HDMI port in it, so I'm gonna,
Oh, nice. Take
we're gonna
take a
get some
drink while I
stuff.
read
We're
off
gonna
this
get
next stuff. Um,
I get I'm gonna just say I had COVID at the beginning of May. Don't get COVID, is what I'll say. It's still very real, still very serious. Don't get COVID. I've had this cough for almost a month now. It will not go away. PSA: don't get COVID.
fair enough.
It's still out there.
Yeah. Let's see. Going off the next one. Jumping off of Horizon, called The Mountain, the VR title, Horizon Forbidden West. Got a major update the day of State of Play that added a a better performance mode, a transmog system, a skill reset system, ultra hard difficulty, new game plus, trophies for new game plus, as well as a new herbalist vendor and improved temporal anti-aliasing.
I
Um,
think what I have heard, I need to check it out, but Horizon Forbidden West is an excellent looking game. I'm not taking that away from it. However, the performance mode of that game, and I played Miles Morales in performance mode, performance RT. I played Ratchet and Clank in performance RT. I played Horizon in the performance, mode. Their like the shimmering issue that they said they had was more prevalent in that mode,
mhm.
and there was a general kind of like blurriness to the
Hmm.
game that really impacted my ability to, I know this is going to sound crazy, but it really like impacted my ability to go all in on that game because I just kind of looking at it and it just like some spots looked a little muddy and it didn't feel like a lack of horsepower. It felt like something with what they were doing with that mode. And so I'm hoping that with the temporal, I've already heard people saying that the shimmering is almost entirely gone.
Oh, nice.
So I'm hearing great things about it. So maybe I'll finally jump back in. Maybe that was the thing that was hurting me, was just like this game didn't look that much better than it did on PS4 was my problem. And I couldn't, the thing is, and it's funny, like I can play some things in 30 FPS, it really doesn't bother me, but they're playing it in 60 and then I switched it to the 4K 30 and it looked noticeably like incredible.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I couldn't live with that. There was something about that 30 FPS that just felt sluggish. And so I needed the 60 for the game to feel like it was playing right, but it just didn't look anywhere close. Like I could barely tell the difference in motion. You could not tell the difference in the performance modes on like the Insomniac games. And when it came to sun in your eyes.
Yep, curtains are not light canceling, just light dimming a bit.
It's a good thing you switched to the laptop.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Like those games in motion, I never had to think about it. But when playing Horizon Forbidden West, I felt like I was leaving visuals on the table, you know, in a way that never felt good to me. So I never felt like I was getting the experience I was expecting. That game has a dreadful start. It's very slow.
That's right here for most people. Yeah.
The opening to that game is just awful. And like the beginning of Horizon Zero Dawn is still incredible because I played that the month before Forbidden West came out. I went all in on Zero Dawn. That game is still phenomenal. So it's not an issue of like, it wasn't an issue of just being like, oh, I don't remember how the game felt or something. Like, no, I was playing the better Horizon game a month before this one came out. And this game just doesn't, I don't know if that's going to change. Maybe the visuals are enough to kind of push me through, but like there is something about that game that just like Horizon Zero Dawn immediately clicked with me. It was one of my favorite games of that generation. I love that game to death. Bought it again on PC, had phenomenal time playing that on PC. Something about Forbidden West, ain't it? And I'm going to give it another try, but like there's something about that game that just isn't quite right, and I can't quite put my finger on it, but some of it is just like that game is too busy. Like they added like, I've talked about this before on previous episodes, and I don't want to go into a big tirade, but like there's just so much busy work now. Like they added a grappling hook that only works on certain things, and its primary function is to pull debris out of things so you can pass through them. And I'm like, why add a grappling hook if you're just creating busy work with it?
Or just don't put those obstacles in the way if the only purpose.
Exactly. Like Halo Infinite, perfect example. Adds a grappling hook, makes that game incredible. The grappling hook makes the gameplay of Halo Infinite so much better because it doesn't detract from anything, and it gives you so much more mobility, so much freedom of movement that you've never had in a Halo game. Meanwhile, Horizon Forbidden West adds a grappling hook, does nothing of value with it. And that's in like the first hour. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, that's all I'm going to say. Really hope people out there are enjoying this game because it is not living up to the pedigree of the original by any stretch. I do hope, though, there are some rumors that they're working on a multiplayer Monster Hunter type game for Horizon. That's one of the multiplayer projects that Guerrilla's working on, which might be one of their games as a service thing. I'm all in on that. When I say I'm all in on that, I'm all in. And it's supposed to come to PC too. So,
oh, nice.
All in. That's game of my dreams. Like me and my bud's gonna go hunt some robot dinosaurs and shit. Like let's go kill some Thunderjaws. I am in, dude. Say less. I'm sorry. State of play. Yeah. I don't want to derail this anymore. I apologize.
Full on. Oh boy, my mic. Full on Guerrilla Games remake of Freedom Wars from the ground up for PS5. Anyway, the next thing at State of Play was a new trailer for the Callisto Protocol, and a release date. It is coming out December 2nd of this year, and that game looks spooky.
I'm looking forward to seeing the gameplay at Summer Game Fest on Thursday.
You seemed to like the trailer when we watched it.
I did, but it's also like I think they're just relying too much on like the grotesque horror, and like there's just a lot of like kind of like sticky gelatinous, like, oh, they're peeling and shit like that. And I'm just like, are you just trying to make this game gross, or are you trying to make this game scary?
Yeah.
And so I'm a little worried that they're just like, look at all this tech we have. Let's make it disgusting. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't need disgusting to be scared. Dead Space, not disgusting, horrifying. Like, I don't know. I just don't like when games go like all in and they're just like, yo, let's make this like gross as shit. And I'm just like, I'm not like necessarily turned off by that stuff because like I play plenty of games that have stuff like that. But if that's like if that's gonna be its defining feature of like look at how it drips and goops, and I'm just gonna be like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just looked like Dead Space made by somebody else, and that's not really what I want. I want Dead Space, or I want something, you know, I
Else.
I want something inspired by Dead Space, or I want Dead Space. I don't want Dead Space by someone else.
What if
Or
it's
this
like,
dude's second attempt at Dead Space.
what if it ends up being like a 7 out of 10 game, but at the end it's revealed to be in a shared universe with Dead Space?
It's not.
But what? But what if?
That doesn't do anything for it.
Okay.
That's just Dead Space 3 is in the Dead Space universe, and that was a 7 out of 10 game, you know? Like,
Dead Space
so
3,
what? You
Fear
made
3.
you made Dead Space 3 but single player. Congratulations.
Well, next
Um,
announcement
yeah, I
is
hope that game's
yeah,
good.
yeah. Well, we'll find out this year. Next announcement: Stray, the game about the kitty cat in the robot world.
Stray was one of the
It,
best games they showed.
yep. They gave a release date of July 19th, and it will actually be free for those subscribed to the new extra and premium tiers of PlayStation Plus. So, an incentive to uh, get one of the higher membership tiers.
I think that's cool because I think that helps Sony because they're out there doing the Game Pass thing of like, hey, we are going to get you new games. It's not going to be God of War Ragnarok, but we are going to get you new games. And I think that's important for them right now. And I think Stray is a game that's going to get people to be like, I'll try it for a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I looked at that and I was like, I might try that now, because then I could test all the other stuff and see if I like it. But I'm like, that might be worth it to give it a shot.
Yeah.
Stray
Yeah.
is a cool enough looking game to work for that. I think Sony was very smart to do that. I'm not trying to, just oh yes, I'm not trying to fanboy about this, but it's like I just think that's a good move for them because the value proposition of their service is not all the way there yet. They're not. We all know they're not Game Pass, but they're also not. This is edging them a little bit closer. They're still not there, but this is bringing them to closer to parity in a limited sense.
Yeah. Agreed.
A new game is coming to their service. That's exciting.
Yeah. Let's see. No Man's Sky will make its way to PlayStation VR 2. There's already a PlayStation VR version, but Hello Games will be making a PSVR 2 version of the game.
Because it's got to use the controller, because they have like the knuckle-ish controllers, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
yeah.
that'll be cool. I think like that'll, and just the graphical and performance jump, I think will be huge.
It'll be huge. Yeah. Yeah. There was a trailer for a game called Season, A Letter to the Future, which was very interesting. It just seems to kind of take place in this small countryside town and just kind of exploring and meeting people. Has a neat art style. It's coming out in fall. Not much we really got on it. Ride a bike.
I liked it. The longer the trailer went on, I think I kind of was like, okay. Like initially, I was just like, okay, but kind of as it went on, I was like, maybe this is one of those games that doesn't show well, but then you play it and you end up crying, like,
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. It's either going to be a freaking masterpiece or it's going to be just another,
Yeah.
That's how those games usually go, right? It's either a masterpiece or nobody ever talks about it again.
It's true. Another game coming to Sony service, Tunic, will be coming to PlayStation this September 27th for both PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. Up until now, it has been a Xbox and PC exclusive, I believe.
It's super smart for the developers.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
because Tunic is still very hot. There's a lot of people who are still very positive on Tunic. So there's going to be a lot of people on Twitter. There's going to be a lot of people on like YouTube and different social media platforms being like, hey, Tunic is awesome. If you have a PlayStation, buy this game. So the word of
Mhm.
mouth is going to push this game really hard, regardless of how available on Game Pass it is.
Yeah.
Um, this is going to get people to buy that game. So I think the developers, good that they got the deal with Microsoft, good that they made that money. Now they get the game out to, another audience, and that's going to be great for them. I hope the game is immensely successful on PlayStation platforms for them.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
it
me too.
PS4 and 5 or just 5?
It is 4 and 5.
Yeah. So you got a huge install base there. There's going to be at least 1 million people who buy this game because they know what it is, and it's everybody's going to look at that and be like, "Oh, that's that Fox game I heard about."
Yeah, it's the
Great.
Fox Zelda.
Done. It's bought. They already bought it.
Yeah.
1 million people have already bought it.
Yeah. Maybe my favorite surprise announcement, and you know what? Maybe my favorite announcement from the whole state of play, Roller Drome.
Yeah.
Man,
you really liked that.
I was very high on this. So it has the art style of, if you recall, a year or two ago, a game called Sable. Has a very similar kind of cell shaded art style to that. It's created by the developer who makes all the Ollie Ollie games, um, and it's basically you're rollerblading and shooting people.
Tony
In the
Hawk
words
with
of the
roller skates and guns.
yeah, in the words of the youths, I believe they would say less. Um,
That's lit.
yep. So if you haven't watched the trailer for it, I think it looks ridiculous in a really great way, and it comes to both PS4 and PS5 fall 2022.
That game
So
knows
I want to feel too
exactly
long.
what it wants to be.
Oh yeah, and I love it. I
Yeah,
love it so
that is a
much.
game that they made that. They were like, I made the game. This is exactly what I wanted to make.
Yeah, yeah. Um, let's see. Next up, a game with a promising premise and a terrible title. Eternites is a anime dungeon crawler meets dating sim, and trailer looked fine. I'm not super high on it. It's coming to both PS4 and PS5 early next year, but something about it rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, like it looked like it could have been cool, and then they revealed the name, and it was so uncool. It kind of sucked the air out of the room, and I was just like, okay, like right as it was about to be like, okay, maybe this could be like a little endearing thing, Eternites, and it's gone.
Oh
It's
no.
gone. I just
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah. Uh, moving on.
Yes.
Uh, a direct sequel to one of the most highly acclaimed VR games of all time across any platform, Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners Chapter 2: Retribution, was announced for PlayStation VR 2 coming next year. It's a direct follow-up to the first game, and has new story, new maps, new weapons. I actually still do want to play the first one, even though I know it's spooky because zombies.
Let's do it.
Um, but just the interaction is
Is it
super
co-op?
neat. No, I don't believe
Oh,
so.
damn.
But like a zombie will be like shambling up to you, and you can like grab the side of its head and hold it, and then just have your knife and just go pop 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 pop. Like there's physics to like grab the actual like zombie and like push it and stuff. Um, so yeah, the first game is really well renowned in amongst the VR sphere. So I'm happy a second game's being made, and that will be a nice graphical showcase for the PSVR 2. That will be good. Next up, great news. More people get to play great games. Marvel Spider-Man Remastered and Miles Morales coming to PC August 12th.
That's a win.
Actually,
That's a win. No,
so
yeah.
correction, just read the original Spider-Man Remastered on August 12th, and then Miles Morales a little bit later, but still this fall. So just a little bit later. But that's great. Those are both fantastic games. The swinging is
Phenomenal.
good. I've heard from
Phenomenal.
Chris. Yeah,
Phenomenal. Miles Morales is the better of the two games, hands down, and
it's
the one I would suggest.
it's much better paced. for sure. It takes out a lot of kind of some busy work from the original. The original is definitely still worth playing in my opinion. I played it from start to finish and platinum it, and I love that game. I think that was like my third favorite game of that year when it came out. But that's exciting. I mean, Sony continues to buy into bringing their kind of exclusives, console exclusives to PC, which is
I
a good
mean,
move.
all it took was releasing a few of their devs being like, "Hey, can you just do
Yeah,
this?" All of a
and then
sudden,
they're
they're
like,
making
okay, I
they're
guess.
making $300 million on Horizon, Days Gone, and God of War, and they're just like, give them the Spider-Man." Everyone's
Yeah,
bringing the tweet up from like 2017, where Insomniac's like, "It's never coming to Xbox, it's never coming to PC," and people are like hating on them for that, like, "Oh, so much for this," and it's like, no, Sony's business has evolved. They finally wised up and realized, oh, these two things don't intersect in a way that hurts our console business. We can release our games on PC and they'll just sell more.
yeah. I feel like for a lot of these kind of like older, more traditional Japanese companies like Sony and Nintendo, they just need to take like the first step to see how successful something will be instead of just saying no to it automatically every time.
I wonder. Okay, being that PlayStation is a high end console already, people will usually either have like a PC or a PlayStation. Some people have both. Do you think if Nintendo released their games on PC, would that negatively impact the sales of their console, just given the difference in the performance?
I don't think it would because I think a lot of like it's stereotypical and kind of traditional, but like the demographic for Nintendo consoles are younger people. So, like, and kids, so they don't really care about graphics as much. I know I didn't when I was younger.
Fair, fair.
And just again, like, still the price point is still going to be
That's
a big
true.
thing.
I'm
So, I don't think it would negatively impact it. I think it would be good for Nintendo. I don't think it would negatively impact console sales, but I could be wrong.
I just wonder if Nintendo is a little more susceptible to it, just given that their hardware is not as powerful.
Sure, sure.
I want like, and I'm not saying that as in Nintendo shouldn't do it. I think Nintendo should absolutely try. Like at this point, why
Mhm.
not put Breath of the Wild on PC? People are already
Yeah,
playing it emulated. You're not going to stop that. People who want to play it on PC already are. If you give them an avenue to spend $60, at least you're making money on that now. Is my
yeah,
logic, because you can't do that with a PS5 game because you have to, there's two, the hardware has to be there, and at a certain point it's just not worth it. It's cheaper to buy a PlayStation 5 than it is to, make sure you have the hardware. And it's easier to emulate those now that they're like x86, but there's a reason you don't hear about, PlayStation 5 games being emulated the day they come out or ever. I don't know if people are emulating PS5 games. We can barely emulate a PS3.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like, people have been emulating Breath of the Wild since the day it came out. People emulated Metroid, I think, before it came out, or like right
Yeah,
as it came out for Dread. And so
yeah.
that's why I'm almost a little like, maybe that does impact them, just because people would be like, okay, I'm not going to buy the Switch because I can just play this on my PC. I feel like they might be a little more susceptible, but I still think it's a net positive because there's so many people who would never buy their console in the first place who would buy Breath of the Wild, who would buy Metroid Dread, who would
Mhm.
buy, Smash. Imagine Smash on PC.
Yeah, yeah.
Imagine what
So,
people would do with that.
yeah. Yeah. Instead of all these Smash clones being made, you can just import the actual
Just
characters
bring
modded
in
into a
Smash.
Smash. Uh, but yeah, I think it would be good for them. I think what what Nintendo does do well is most of their flagship games don't really rely on the visuals, where it's more art style and art design. Like Super
Right.
Mario Odyssey still looks phenomenal as a Switch game.
I
Breath of
agree.
the Wild looks nice.
I
Metroid Dread looks really sharp.
I've seen
It
those
comes down to
games in 4K
performance.
though.
Well, yeah, of
I
course,
when you
of
when you
course.
see them in 4K at
Yeah.
60 and you see what those games could be,
Hmm.
it's a revelation. It's just
Yeah.
like, I am so much more into that vision of that game, and
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my God, it runs well. It looks incredible because it still has all the art style. It just kind of sheds the, when it sheds that 720p or less, all of a sudden it just becomes this really like kind of gorgeous looking game. It looks real sharp, it loses a little bit of that blurriness and everything just becomes clearer and smoother. And, I would love if Nintendo's not going to give us hardware that is going to do that. I think it would be great if they just said, look, give us your $60 and we'll just give you the hell. You could still charge for your Nintendo Online. People would fucking play that or pay that just to play your games online.
Yeah.
Just to play your games on PC, I mean. Like if you were like, okay, you still have to buy our online pass to play these games, but like you can play Splatoon 3 on your PC with the Switch people.
Mm-hmm.
People do that.
Yeah.
Only Nintendo could do that.
So we'll see if that changes ever. Probably not. Next announcement. Street Fighter 6 first gameplay trailer was shown. I don't think it looked very good, to be honest.
I mean, I think it looked okay. Like visually, lots of color. You mentioned lots of color. Very vibrant.
The fights looked good. The backgrounds and everything did not look good. It's coming out next year. It's being built on Capcom's RE engine, which was used for Resident Evil 7 and Village. Excuse me. So that will allow for improved kind of graphical fidelity over the previous versions. And some characters were confirmed. A couple that are, of course, Ryu was in the gameplay trailer. Chun-Li was in the gameplay trailer. Luke and the newcomer Jamie are also on the roster. So it's coming out next year to all PlayStation, or to PlayStation 4 and 5. And then on IGN, it's just saying Xbox Series X and S, and so not Xbox One, where it is coming out from PlayStation 4.
I think that's smart. Cut the one out. Well, that's the thing is because Microsoft has the same policy that Sony does of if you're going to release it on like the One X, you have to release it on the One.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And so, being that the One is still weaker than the PS4, maybe they can swing it on the PS4, but it just makes sense to be like, you know what, forget the One and the One X. We're going to target the Microsoft console that's actually selling really well.
Yeah, yeah. And
that thing will probably outsell the One in like, what, a year or two?
Yeah, it won't take long. And then the last two big announcements, speaking of RE Engine, the first is Resident Evil Village coming to PlayStation VR 2. It will be the complete game, just like Resident Evil 7 was, which is kind of unanimously said is the best way to play the game, is in VR. And with the VR version of Village, you'll obviously be able to kind of lift your arms around. It won't be the static just with a controller arm, and allow you to dual wield and use different weapons for each hand to open up some different combat stuff. So yeah, I mean that's
I just want to run around with two knives like this, just stab, just dab on them.
Okay, and then the last announcement. So this has been rumored for a long time, but Resident Evil 4 remake was officially announced with a pretty long trailer. It's releasing March 24th next year. There will be some VR content. They didn't confirm if it will be the whole campaign. They just released a Resident Evil 4 VR of the original game. So I think there will be maybe some side modes in VR for this one. I don't think it'll be the full campaign.
There's a lot of people out there who are like, boy, I hope they don't change a lot. And I'm like, one, there's a lot about that game that should be changed because it is very much a game of its time. I'm not just talking gameplay. There's a lot of dumb dialogue in that game that just doesn't need to exist. Also, clearly the people saying that have not played any of the other remakes that they made that were like, Resident Evil 2 remake. Obviously, you're going from Resident Evil 2 on the PS1. There's a much bigger jump there, but
that was a Game of the Year contender.
Yeah, that was a huge.
Yeah.
That was a big change. Like that wasn't nothing. They didn't just take that and be like, okay, well, let's just make it, shiny and new. Like they made a lot of changes, and like you look at Final Fantasy VII remake, you look at all these other remakes, they make a lot of changes to modernize these games. And generally speaking, out of the ones I played, I haven't found one I didn't like, or that I didn't think, wasn't at least worthy of being a remake. Not an issue of is one better than the other, just like, Final Fantasy VII Remake is a perfect example. I think that stands as a perfect companion to the original. It doesn't devalue the original. You could still play that game and have a great time, and then Seven Remake kind of does those things and hits those notes, but then does its own stuff on top of that. And I think if Resident Evil 4 does that, in ways that Resident Evil 2 Remake did and 3 Remake did, I think it's going to be a phenomenal game. I think it's going to be the second coming of, if it could be as good now as Resident Evil 4 was then, forget about it. Yeah. We're going to have Resident Evil games for the next 50 years.
Yeah, so I mean, that was Sony's State of Play. I mean, again, there was not a lot of like mind-blowing new things to announce, but there was a lot of exciting things about stuff we knew was coming, and Roller Drome, which is the game of the year.
It was a well-paced show. Sony has gotten really good at not talking and just let's just show the games. Yeah. Again, like there wasn't any like CG. It was all like in-engine footage. It was gameplay, stuff like that. They did a really good job. These shows are getting better, even though there wasn't that like, oh my God moment. Damn good president. If they could all be this good, that'd be great.
Yeah.
If they were all just like this and this good, phenomenal. That would be worth it every time.
Yeah, I think I said to you after the show, it's like it was missing the high highs, but it didn't have the low lows. It was like very above average the entire time.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a good show.
Great job. And I hope Summer Game Fest, because sometimes those Keighley shows get a little up their own ass a bit. And they have the high highs, but they have some really low lows. So I'm really hoping that his show kind of keeps that pace. We know Nintendo is going to do something at some point. And when I say something, I mean give me a release date for Advance Wars. God damn it.
Yeah, I get my game of the year next month, so that's all I care about.
I need Reboot Camp. Okay, I need it. Listen. You're not hearing me proper. I need it.
Oh, okay.
I need it.
They finally did it. But yeah, so that's State of Play. Chris, what would you like to talk about next?
I got this mouse. It's Destiny.
So we're talking about what we've been playing. Perfect.
No. Well, I kind of can talk about what I've been playing on my Steam Deck. This is the 649 model, the one that comes with the 512. Comes with the etched glass, the anti-glare, and it comes with this exclusive case. They all come with a case, but apparently this one is exclusive.
It is different. The materials on the inside are very nice.
It's like an Alcantara kind of feel almost. Like what they put on like the Surface keyboards. It's very soft and very subtle.
Yeah, so the inside is different on the cases, and the logo on the top only has blue on the 649.
And it comes with a branded microfiber cloth.
It does. But so how have you found the Steam Deck? This has been, for a long time, I've been saying this is my perfect console because I love the Switch because I like to play things on the go.
But like you can kind of see even in the camera, you see how it kind of like diffuses that? Yeah, hi. Picture in picture. But you see how it kind of diffuses that? It's not like reflecting it really brightly. It's really nice. I do have an unboxing video on my personal YouTube channel. And if I remember, I'll link it.
Hey! 50-50.
We'll see what happens. But yeah.
Let's how does it feel?
Does it incredible, actually. Yeah. When I first took it out of the box, I was holding it a little weird, but like hold on. Okay, Google, turn on my lights. Okay, Google, turn on my lights.
As everyone's Google's just turned on their lights in their homes.
But you see like how it has these kind of grooves in it?
Mm-hmm.
That's where you grip. So it kind of guides your hand where it wants you to put it. And when you hold it properly, like as hefty as this thing can be, it feels incredibly light to hold. And like they did a great job. So the fan is right up here. All the heat is right here, which means it's not on your fingies.
Oh, nice.
So they did a phenomenal job. And what's really cool is like when you boot it up, they look at your library and they have a section. I'm trying to see. Come on. Now that the lights are on, but see,
it's not going to work with the lights.
No, hold on. I want it to show.
Again, for people not watching the video, you're missing out.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a thing that says great on deck, and it shows you all of your games that get the green check mark for the Steam Deck. So they're fully verified. Nice. So you can just go down this list and install games, and they're guaranteed to run on your Steam Deck.
Oh.
I have personal opinions on some of these games that I think do not run well at all with the green check mark. Deathloop. I did not agree with that at all because I think Deathloop plays horrible on the Steam Deck. Despite having FSR2, it just did not feel right. There was something very sluggish about it.
I can see you getting into Hades on this now. Oh, Hades
I do need to. Hold on, is Hades a green check?
It is. They can. Supergiant confirmed it a few months ago.
I need to install it. I'm going to install it. I put a 1 terabyte SD card in here.
Nice.
And it's just installing games to that now.
Yeah.
I put Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga.
It's a great game.
Metal Gear Solid 5 is apparently one of the best games you can play on this, and it runs at like a locked 60.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a great game.
Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Not verified in any way to run on the Steam Deck. I played it briefly, locked 60. Ran perfectly.
If you make your own decisions, do your own testing.
Yeah, do your own research, people. Mini Motorways has a green check. Fuck my life.
You were just looking for a reason to put it down.
No Man's Sky is a green check. I'm just looking through what I have. Left 4 Dead 2 has a green check. The Last Remnant has a green check. Somebody tested The Last Remnant.
Wow.
And it has a green check.
Thank you, RPG nerds. I'm one of you.
The Jackbox Journey, green check, baby.
Sure.
That's the bright one right there in the video that you can't see because Journey's very bright. But yeah, green check mark, baby. Into the Breach. I'm just going through some highlights. Hyper Light Drifter, Half-Life 2, Episode 2, Half-Life 2, Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, Hitman, Horizon Zero Dawn, Griftlands, Grease. There's Hades. Hold on, I'm installing that. Gunfire Reborn. All right, cool. Hades is installing. Gone Home. Yeah. Fully verified for deck. Generation 0. Geometry Wars Retro Evolved is fully certified for the Steam Deck. Fucking Fallout Shelter, Firewatch. Final Fantasy 15 runs on the Steam Deck. Fully verified.
Have you tested? Does it run locked 60?
Not yet. I haven't tested. It's not going to run locked 60. I can tell you that. The First Dying Light, Elden Ring, Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah.
Divinity Original Sin 2 Enhanced Edition.
Nice. So what's the experience like, I guess? Because there's like a desktop, right? Like a PC desktop, and then you can boot into the Steam launcher.
I haven't booted into the desktop yet. So everything right now is just like this is it. This is the Proton interface for the Steam Deck.
Right.
So this is just like this is Steam just running. And you can get like all your games, and it'll tell you which ones like definitely won't work. Oh my god, I played Aperture Desk Job. It is like basically a 30-minute demo for the Steam Deck of what it can do. They got J.K. Simmons back as Cave Johnson.
That's awesome.
It is hilarious.
Is it like the Astrobot of the Steam Deck?
It is one of the funniest games I've ever played. It was just so good. Like you go in and he's like hyping you up. He's like, we're so proud. We're like real thrilled, like moon landing thrilled. And the robot comes in. He's like, wait a minute. That's not right. Hold on. And he pushes a button. He's like, you in the overalls, get back to work or you're fired. And he's like, they don't give out overalls anymore. Just like it's stupid shit like that. And then, like you're testing toilets and one of them is on fire. And he's like, are they all on? Have all of these toilets been on fire? He's like, you know what? That's not our problem. We're not here to test if they're on fire. We're just here to test if they work, and that's all we're going to do. And then it's someone else's problem. And I'm like, boy, this game really, Valve needs to make more games because they just write so damn well. I installed Portal 2. Portal 2 is fully verified. I've been playing that because it was Aperture Desk Job was too funny. And so I started playing Portal again.
Did you install the new Stanley Parable?
No, I did not. Fun game that I did install, not tested at all, ran perfectly. 2010's Blur. Ran flawlessly on the Steam Deck. Game. It doesn't show, it shows keyboard controls, but if you use like the logical console commands, like, you know, it works. It just works. Yeah. I played multiple races. It ran flawlessly.
Yeah.
They just updated like the Castlevania Advanced Collection, so that works on the Steam Deck. I got that Chrono Cross game on here. I got Grim Dawn running on it. That's a yellow, so like some of the stuff requires like touchscreen or like to manually bring up the on-screen keyboard and stuff. What's really dope, the coolest thing they did is you hold the Steam button and it will bring up all the commands you can execute to do different things on the Steam Deck. So if you do like Steam button plus, Steam button plus X, it brings up the keyboard. Oh. If you do Steam button plus R1, is that R1? Yeah. Takes a screenshot. Nice. But if you hold the button down, it just shows you all of those commands at any point. You can be in a game, you hold it down. So like holding the Steam button and long pressing B will close a game. No matter what you're doing in it, it will just close the game.
Nice.
Vampire Survivors runs great on this, 60 FPS. This has been my favorite place to play Vampire Survivors ever since that happened. I just started installing shit that like, I was like, I want to see if it works. Like Suzerain has a yellow, I don't know, Vanquish runs at a locked 60 FPS on this thing.
Oh, nice.
It's so good, dude. God, like this has been my favorite place to play games recently. Like I've been at work and I'm like, yo, I'm going to take my 15. I'll get halfway through a Vampire Survivors run and I'll just be like, I'm going to go take another 15, finish the run.
Yeah, I assume, I'm sure it runs very well, but I assume you wouldn't want to play it on there. Destiny 2. Because
Destiny 2 does not run natively on the Steam Deck.
Gotcha.
Proton does not. So Proton supports anti-cheat from BattlEye and Easy Anti-Cheat. Apex Legends fully certified to run on deck. Runs on deck natively. Destiny so Easy Anti-Cheat is a little better, which is ironic because it's owned by Epic. So, you know, funny thing there. BattlEye does not like Proton, or at the very least, the developers using BattlEye don't trust Proton. So PUBG does not work. Destiny 2 does not work. Those are kind of the two big ones that I noticed. But I mean, like Apex just works.
Nice.
Like you could literally just boot up Apex, start playing. I would love to play Destiny on this thing. Now I can stream Destiny from my desktop to this. That would, you know, that's easy enough to do. The touchscreen's nice. I do feel sometimes with the touchscreen, sometimes like if you are not careful with how you press, it will take an input instead of like moving. So like you could press on something and sometimes it'll just be like, oh, you want to select this. No, I didn't. But the screen's really nice. The buttons are really nice. I think the positionings are very good. Like you look at this and you don't think they're good. The D-pad on this thing is phenomenal.
Yeah, the D-pad is like almost hanging off the edge of that thing with how close it is.
No, but it feels great. It's better. Like I when I did my unboxing, I compared it to the D-pads on the Pro controller, the Series controller, and the DualSense controller, and I think it's the best. I think it's better than them. Because the PlayStation 1 is probably the close second. Just because it has the defined feeling buttons. Microsoft's is still good, but I kind of don't like the disc. I think the disc is a little too easy to miss input, and it feels way better than the Pro Controller D-pad.
Yeah.
Like night and day improvement. The joysticks on this thing feel incredible, though I will say they're a little less Hades is done installing.
Oh,
They're a
nice.
little. I don't know how well this comes through on the camera, but they're not like almost flat.
Oh yeah, they're not like concave to
Yeah,
like
they're
how
more.
like
They're not
interesting.
concave enough. I haven't actually had any problems while using it.
Mm,
So it's not something I've noticed while playing games, but it was definitely something I noticed. Like when you're kind of going like this, your
yeah.
thumb just kind of rolls off to the edge. You see, like how
Mm,
it is right now. That's just
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of it. Just happens
yeah.
because it just doesn't keep you on there like a DualSense does or like an Xbox controller does. So, that is what it is. The touchpads are actually pretty nice. They have a nice little like tactile feel when you scroll over them. They use like the haptics to
Mm-hmm.
kind of give it a little vibration feel. So as you're scrolling, it kind of activates the haptics a bit.
Oh, nice.
So that's really cool. Face buttons are nice. I wasn't sure about them when I first started, but they actually have like a really nice press, a pretty good travel. The coolest thing, I want to see if I can show this real quick. I'm gonna just boot up desktop real quick. So everything just boots. It connects to Steam and it just launches the game. But what's cool is you have your performance tracker. So right now I have it just tracking the frame rate. If I want, I can
Oh
have it
wow.
tell
Yeah.
me
Everything.
everything, individual core performance, temperatures. It can tell me if FSR is running. It tells me what it's running Vulkan. It tells me frame times. Like, dude, I can tell you every percentage. I can tell you what speed my GPU and all of my CPU cores are running at. I can tell you how much RAM I'm using. It estimates how much battery. So it'll tell you right here, like 69%. It'll estimate how much battery time you have left. So it's estimating about an hour and 54 minutes right now. And you
Mm,
can adjust this however much you want. So you can take it down if you just want to see GPU, battery, stuff like that. I leave it just on 1 so I can see my frame rate.
mm-hmm.
Like even
That's cool.
desk job, it dips into the 40s a couple times, but it's not like there's not enough going on that it really matters. And desk job looks great. Like on the deck, it looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
Um, like everything is right here. You got all your help, you got your notifications, your friends list is all right here. Your settings, so you can go in here, you could turn on rumble and haptics, you can control like airplane mode, Bluetooth, all that stuff. It's just all right here, and then when you're done, you put it away. You know,
Nice.
and I don't know if it'll pick up Cave Johnson or not. I don't know if you can hear that or not. The speakers on this thing are incredible. They are the
Are
most
those the grills on the back?
on the front.
Oh, where are the
No,
grills on the back?
that's a vent.
Oh,
Or no,
that's a
I
vent.
think
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
intake. That's intake. I'm sorry. That's
Oh, intake.
intake,
Okay.
and then goes out the top.
Got
But
it.
the
Got it.
speakers on this thing. Have you ever used Dolby Vision on your phone?
Maybe.
So what's incredible about this is you can be holding the Steam Deck out here,
Mm-hmm.
but it sounds right here.
Huh.
Like the way it projects audio. I was talking about it, and then one of my managers was like, your phone has Dolby Atmos, and it does the same. I was like, no way. I put on Dolby Atmos on my phone, and I was like, oh my god, it's the same thing. And like, dude, just the way it does it, it's like it feels like you're in it, dude. It's incredible, the quality. And there's gonna be people who are gonna nitpick and whatever, but for me, on a handheld like this, audio is sensational. I
Yeah.
would use this to listen to music. I would use this to watch movies and stuff like that, just because of how good it sounds.
Right. Right.
It's incredible. But yeah, dude, like this is kind of my favorite place to play games. Like I
That's
can't.
dope. It's how I felt with the Switch for a long time, but now there's something in the PC space that accomplishes a similar thing.
I genuinely believe you will love this.
Oh, I'm sure I will. And
This is going to be your new. This is going to be. I took my Switch out of my bag, and I
Yeah.
have played this more already than I've played my
Mhm.
Switch this year.
Yeah, and for the listeners, I'm supposed to get mine between July and September. At some point, I ordered the cheapest model, and I'm gonna put
I
in a
can send
super
you
fast SD card.
yeah, SD card goes right in there. I got a
Nice.
Lexar. It was like 130 something bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing I'm gonna do is there's apparently a really easy way. It's like EMU deck. There's a website
Yeah.
you just load up on here, and it just
Yep.
installs all the stuff. And like you can just run the emulators, and I just got to get 2K5 running on this thing. That's all I got to do,
Yeah.
man. Is I just have to get 2K5 to run, and then
Yeah.
I'm set for life, dude.
Yeah. So that's what I was actually about to say. So our listeners are going to get two pretty different experiences with the Steam Deck between the two of us, because I'll be playing stuff on Steam for it, but my primary use case for the Steam Deck will be as an emulator machine.
Dude, when I install I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I'm gonna use my Retroid anymore once I get the emulators running on this.
I will sometimes, just for the size, because it actually
Yeah.
fits in my pocket. So I like to bring it with me
There will be
sometimes.
circumstances, yes, and there will
Yeah.
be certain games like I might play like more GBA stuff on that, but like I was playing Mega Man Legends on that, and like it ran
Yeah.
great, and I was very happy. But like playing Twisted Metal on that, it's
Mhm.
just too small to kind of get
Yeah.
it doesn't have the screen real estate. But this thing, it's going to run the
Yeah.
PS2 version of that game, and it's going to look phenomenal because this screen is amazing.
Mhm.
Dude, I do on a full black screen. There is some LCD bleed, like or
Mhm.
IPS bleed. I don't know if it's an IPS panel. I believe it's an IPS panel, but there's definitely some light bleed at the top and a little bit at the bottom. It hasn't been noticeable in games, but the first time I saw a pure black screen, I was just like, whoa! Like it's
Yeah.
your mileage will vary with that, but it has not detracted from this. I remember watching a video. Linus Tech Tips was talking about this, and he said this is the most exciting thing to happen to PC gaming in 20 years.
Yeah.
I believe him.
Yeah.
I agree with him.
Mhm.
This thing is going to change the way people play PC games. This thing, like if they can figure out some of the anti-cheat stuff on Proton and get more compatibility, this is going to be the new gaming laptop. It's going to be
Mhm.
more affordable. It's going to play all the games, and it's going to be easier to do it because when you're done, you just put it to sleep. And then if you close a game on it and you come home, it connects to the cloud and uploads your saves.
Yeah.
And you just pick up where you left off. You reload the game on your PC and you're good to go. This is a phenomenal piece of hardware. I love it. I love this thing so much. I've only had it for a little less than a week, but this thing, when you use it, it kind of almost feels magical because
Yeah.
you're just like, how does it just work so well? Like it's just I installed this game and it said it they don't know if it works and it just works perfectly. Or like I'm doing
Yeah.
this, I'm doing that. And not every game is going to be perfect, but like I'm just thinking about what is this going to look like in 5 years?
Yeah.
What are we going to be playing on something like this in 5 years? Who's going to compete with this and make something as good as this?
Yeah.
This is going to drive the price down and the quality up in this market space.
Yeah.
I am so excited for handheld PC games going forward like this. And like just do developers start making Steam Deck specifications for the game? Do they make a version of the game that's just like, hey, this is going to run on deck perfectly if you use this setting? We tested it and verified it, you know?
Mhm.
A lot of people complain about the fan noise. I've never noticed it while playing a game. Like I've heard it, but some people are like, "Oh, it's so loud. It's audible and it's all I can hear." And I'm just, no.
Yeah.
Again, mileage may vary, different fans. And then, dude, iFixit already has full guides and parts to take this apart and replace pieces. You could buy new fans for this and install them yourself.
Wow.
Fully certified by Valve. Valve suggests letting a professional do it, but if you want to, this thing is fully accessible to the user, which is huge for right to repair.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, Valve has done everything right with the Steam Deck. And everybody who is even, I put this in the hands of one of my coworkers who doesn't have a PC. And he was like, that thing's pretty neat. He said, I might have to look into that. Like, I let him play the aperture thing.
Yeah.
He was laughing his ass off. He was laughing. He's like, what the hell is this? He's laughing. He's giggling. He's having a good time doing the stuff. He's like, I might have to look into that thing. That's really cool. That's the power of the Steam Deck, is people who didn't care about PC games. They're like, I don't want to spend this, but I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. It starts at $399. You get this beautiful piece of hardware that feels incredible and just plays the games.
Yeah.
And
what is what I've been saying for years. What I enjoy about console games is that they just work. You don't have to deal with new drivers and downloading and having weird PC specific issues. It's a console experience with the power of a PC.
I don't regret having my laptop, because I think in an ideal situation, like if I'm visiting and staying the night, I'm going to set up my laptop. I'm going to play my games on that, right? But if I was just sitting on if we were just chilling, like you were watching a basketball game and we were just chilling on the couch, I'd pull out the Steam Deck and play Monster Hunter or something, dude. We could go out somewhere and just be like, yo, Monster Hunter? And you could be like,
dude,
Monster Hunter.
Dude, if we could figure out how ad hoc would work, we could play Freedom Wars.
We will.
Yeah.
We will. We'll play it on here.
Yeah. So yeah, for listeners, I'm going hard into the emulation side of the Steam Deck. I'm especially excited for DS games, because you can play DS games on the Pocket 2, but the way the screens have to be set up, one is so small, and the touch screen is on this is it's nice to have, but it's imprecise enough to where they're pretty much unplayable. So yeah, I've already started preparing with getting specific games ready to go. I literally bought a to like clear off my desktop, because I'm kind of using that more as just like storage now with my laptop as the daily driver. I bought a 5 terabyte external hard drive and just shoving everything on there to free up space for game stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, I check every morning my email to see if I have received the notification that the deck is shipped yet.
And it's weird. The email you get is a little weird, because it's like, please confirm something. Like, it almost looks like spam at first. Because like, please confirm your purchase. And I was like, what the fuck? And then it's just like, hey, your Steam Deck's available. It's like, oh shit. But they give you, I think they give you like 8 hours or something. Like, they give you plenty of time. It comes from Valve.
It comes from Valve. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure, because I get emails from Steam to my Gmail, but I just want to make sure
it comes from that. Yeah. So it will go through. It will go through. If you're getting those, you'll get this.
Okay. Cool.
Because they basically send it as like a marketing email kind of thing, but like it just comes through and it's like, confirm that you want to buy this, and they give you a good amount of time to do it. And then I've even heard that people like, miss their email or something, and if they reach out to Valve has been like, okay, and they'll just put you back in the queue, like in the next spot, and they'll give you, in some cases they will give you a second chance, because they understand that everybody wants it and sometimes things get in the way, but they, like, I got mine in the morning at like 11 a.m. I bought it by 1, because by the time I checked my email and saw it, I was at work and I was like, oh shit, and I was like, I'm going on break.
Yeah.
Bought my fucking Steam Deck.
Yeah, that's the Steam Deck. I'm very excited to get mine.
And then I'm excited. I bought I was saying at I think at the, I don't remember if I said it at the top of the show or if I said it before we started recording. But I did get a USB-C dock for it that has like an HDMI port and stuff. So that way I can export, because they delayed the official deck, or dock, the official
deck and dock. Yep.
Yeah. So they delayed the official because parts weren't available, but they said it had no impact on the deck, different factories, different production lines. But what they did say is they're actually now doubling down on compatibility with third-party docks.
Oh, nice.
So they're going out of their way, because the whole time was, we have a dock, but you can use any dock. They were never like, you have to use our dock, which is, again, Valve is just doing a phenomenal job with how they're approaching the hardware of this, by being very open and very bring your own equipment, So it's going to have additional USB ports. Like, I'm not going to hook a mouse and keyboard up to this thing, but really having that HDMI out, and then like having the input so I can charge it while it's doing its thing is going to be really good.
Right.
I will say the battery life, if you're playing anything intensive, you're really looking at 2 hours or less.
Yeah.
Like even Vampire Survivors is probably like a 2-hour run. So you will be charging this thing a lot. But like if you got like a flight and you want to watch a movie and then play some Steam Deck, absolutely you can do that. Um,
Yeah.
it
Also, I mean, have you tested it yet with like your portable power supply?
I have not done that yet.
So that might extend it. And a lot of
Yeah,
planes nowadays have outlets where you can plug stuff in under the
it
seat as
has
well,
to
which is
be
nice.
it has to be enough though, because the thing is some of those don't output enough. I think it's like the one that comes with it. I think is like 100 watt or something like that.
Okay.
Because the thing is if you don't have enough power going to it, it won't charge while it plays. It'll just
Mhm.
drain slower. So
Yeah.
you're just kind of
Yeah.
slowing the bleeding a bit, but
Mhm.
it's still better than nothing. But
Yeah.
yeah, that thing like and again, if you're playing like easy stuff, like little simple games that aren't really pushing the hardware, you could definitely get like 5-6 hours out of that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like a Switch where you're playing more intensive games, you get less battery life. So,
Yeah, but I think the trade off is so worth it just because like it
oh
is
yeah, sure.
the best part about it is it's uncompromising when it's on battery. Where a traditional laptop, it's either plugged in or you're not playing anything. Um, and like part of me is like, man, you know, what am I going to do with my laptop when I got the deck? But again, there's still just scenarios where the laptop is like having my desktop away from home, and I'll still
Mhm.
use it. But it's just like now instead of setting up for 5 minutes and then waiting for it to cool down to put it away after my 30-minute break, I'm spending just as much time worrying about my laptop. Not really, but you know what I mean. Hyperbole.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I just take out the deck, play something, close it, put it away. Because
Mhm.
it doesn't get hot
Yeah.
enough that I need to worry about it in the case. It's gonna be fine. It'll cool itself off. It'll be good, and then I take it back out. It picks up where it left off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Incredible piece of hardware.
Nice. I'm very
Anybody
excited.
who has been on the fence, it's worth it. Take the plunge. You
Yeah.
don't need to get the 649 version. You can get the 399 version,
Uh,
and then just
That
put the SD card in.
Yeah, and that's something I did want to clarify if people for people who like your coworker who might not be familiar with the difference in the models is that performance across all three tiers is exactly the same. The hardware is the same.
Yep.
It's just the only difference is the most expensive model has a nicer screen and more storage built in.
And there are scenarios, there are certain games that I definitely would want to have more modern, more intensive games that do run on deck. I would rather have on the internal storage just to get those faster
Hmm.
load times. But honestly, like I haven't really noticed. There's a bunch of stuff installed in the SD card. I don't even know at this point
Yeah,
what's installed where, and it just works. It just boots and it's fine.
yeah, I could be wrong about this, but I think when they first started shipping, and I think Linus Tech Tips got one, and they did a test between booting a game from the internal storage versus the SD card, and like the difference was
A matter of
almost
seconds.
it was almost in some cases not even
Yeah,
that.
no, especially with like
It's so
older
fast.
games or
Yeah,
well optimized games, they'll load just
yeah,
as quick. But in a
yeah.
worst case scenario, you're set. But that's also why I had a problem with Deathloop because Deathloop at one point crashed while trying to start up.
Mm,
I was trying to load into a level and it just crashed back to the Steam interface.
huh.
So like Deathloop is fully verified to run on Steam Deck, and I have not been impressed or I have not been pleased with its performance. I'm sorry, I just realized. I've been trying to figure out what that was. I've been looking at it in my camera. I'm like, is that a cup or something? That's my Wi-Fi. I have to put that back. I didn't realize it fell. I'm sorry. But
Oh,
yeah, if you have any more
cool.
questions, give me 1 sec.
Yep. Um, but yeah, I'm super psyched for the Steam Deck. Again, I'm someone who in the past few years has mostly played games handheld on Switch. I think actually last year, I think I played like 250 hours or something on Switch. And at the end of the year from Nintendo, you get like your breakdown. And I played, it was almost exactly 50-50 on how much I played docked versus how much I played handheld. So, growing up, I wasn't a huge like I had handheld consoles and I liked them, but I never considered myself like I never considered it to be my platform of choice. I always wanted to play console games over handheld games, but as I've gotten older, I find the kind of just versatility of being able to take things where I want to go, um, to be kind of a game changer. So it's always been a reverse where kids start off as huge handheld gaming fans and then turn into console gaming fans. But for me, it's been the reverse. I started
I
off
kind
as
of went on that
mostly
trajectory.
console, yeah, and now it's just like if I can take a game out to my living room to sit on the couch with my wife while she watches something to just like spend time with her, like perfect. That's all I want. So end of Steam Deck conversation until next time, and hopefully I might have one.
For anybody who does plan on checking out the first impression video I did, I am planning on doing a follow-up video where I go through some of those games I test. I have other games that I'm going to test, but I'm basically going to hit like 3 or 4 verified, playable, and then unknown games just to kind of see what that looks like. So you can subscribe if that's something you're interested in. I don't know. But there will be follow-ups, and then when all is said and done, I don't know, I might wait till Ross gets his, and then maybe we do like a joint review for HalfGen. Yeah. And maybe that's a thing we do for our YouTube, which we still have and we don't do enough with. But now we have this and we have ideas on how to use this, and I'm very excited. And we'll start Final Fantasy VIII finally. We've been talking about it.
Yeah, we have,
dude. Because now we can play PC stuff
and the 2K franchise stuff.
And oh my god, where'd the mat? Okay.
Yep.
We have a way to do this now that doesn't require travel.
We'll still be better in person, I think, but yes.
Hopefully this summer I might be getting as many as 2 Sundays off a month.
That would be huge.
Let's turn them into football Sundays.
Let's turn it into HalfGen Sundays.
Let's maybe do some of the simpler games this way, and then we should start that. We should start that at some point.
If you end up getting the 2 Sundays off, we take at least one of those and just bulk record a bunch of stuff every single time.
Yes,
and actually have some some consistency with the YouTube channel.
Yes, because now that I can also show you. DaVinci is really easy.
Yeah,
I can show you how to do some of that stuff, and then we can both I'm impressed with how easy it was to kind of pick up and learn. And I've had to look more stuff up in recent time, but like once I learned it, like I just know it now. Yeah, it's intuitive once you see how to do it.
Nice.
So
yeah, be on the lookout late this summer for more HalfGen YouTube video.
For more HalfGen.
Yeah, more HalfGen.
Just in general, so Ross, do we want to talk more what we've been watching or what we've been playing next?
Let's talk about what we've been playing.
Okay. I'm gonna get this out of the way. Destiny 2's new season started, Season of the Haunted. They brought back the Leviathan.
Oh.
Yeah, nice. It's back, and it's
is
infested.
It haunted?
Yes, it is very haunted.
Is it the Hive?
No, it is the Scorn.
Oh, so you can't say.
And there's some Cabal. No. But the apparently the Moon Pyramid is like reacting to it. So
here we go.
Little bit of a lore dump. Okay.
Everyone, get a drink, lean back, recline. Here we go. Story time.
Very rude. So in the new raid, Vow of the Disciple, we met Rulk, who is the first disciple of the Witness. To become a disciple of the Witness, you genocide your species.
Yeah, that's logical.
So Rulk wiped out his whole species. He's the last member. He was the first disciple. Callus is trying to become a disciple of the Witness. So he has arrived to try and genocide his people.
Great.
He's calling himself like a herald right now, I think. So like he is very much involved with the darkness. The new duality dungeon has a lot to do with that. You get to see like a lot of background with him and stuff like that. I was surprised there was some dialogue from Dominus Gall, and they brought back his voice actor to like record 2 lines of dialogue. But I was like, that's really cool that he came back for that. But there's a lot of cool stuff in that dungeon. There's some cool throwbacks to like some old raids and things like that. Being on the Leviathan again and going to some of those zones and seeing them. There was a big thing with Crow, and his nightmare kind of came out, and it's Uldren Sov. And so Aldrin is like talking to him, like basically talking shit. It's like, you know how we are. And he's like, I'm not like you. He's like, you're exactly like me. So it's a lot of people have been praising Destiny because they're like, somehow, some way, Destiny is out here talking about mental health in like a super effective way, about like coping with traumas and things like that, and like overcoming those obstacles. Like Destiny is like very pro like mental health right now, and they're really like, they're kind of bringing their characters low to show people overcoming. And that's how Destiny's been over the last couple years, like with Season of the Splicer addressing a lot of like race relation stuff, and now really kind of targeting mental health. It's it's powerful stuff at its core, and it's really good. It's done in an effective way that doesn't cheapen the topic. It's done in a way where it feels good, and it feels like it fits Destiny and it fits the story, but it doesn't feel like it's just doing it for the sake of like shock value. Whereas like I've said in the past, with like Sword Art, addresses a lot of like tough subjects and does a horrible job of dealing with them in a way that it feels like, why did you even bother?
Mm-hmm.
Destiny is not doing that. Bungie is doing an exceptional job of delivering stories that are really like impacting people's lives, because people are seeing these characters they love go through things that they have gone through. And like there was a cutscene that people data mined, and basically like Zavala's wife is one of the nightmares. And I'm not going to talk about the cutscene, but Zavala has not been himself since Saladin joined Keitel, because Saladin was his mentor. And this season goes into a lot of their relationship, and like exposes, like, because at one point, like last season, Saladin said like to Crow, because Crow said something, and he's like, you have no idea what Zavala sacrificed to be the man he is right now. And we're learning what he sacrificed, and it's kind of heartbreaking. And so he's dealing with all this shit. And like, you finish this public event thing they're doing, and she's talking about him. And like, Keitel comes out and basically he's like, don't you talk about him like that. Like, Keitel is out there, Empress of the Cabal is like, don't you talk to him like that. Like, and she's like, I will take down anyone who disrespects you like that. And he's like, no, it's just, and he can't like explain it. And she doesn't understand, but she's trying to be supportive. And it's this really cool dynamic. And it's just, ultimately, this all comes down to, the season has been fine so far. I'm not like super engrossed in the gameplay loop, but the story elements that they've been hitting on have been really effective. Like at one point, it breaks my heart every time Crow asks Eris about her ghost and how she lost her. And she says her ghost's name, and she's like, she gave up her life so I could have one last chance at mine. And like, it fucking gets me every time, dude. Like, I'm sitting here right now thinking about it. I'm like, yo, it hurts my heart. And like, she is phenomenal at her job. The voice actress for Eris Morn is just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And like, stuff like that, dude, it's so like emotionally impactful. It's incredible. The gameplay doesn't quite match it this season, in my opinion, but I think it's really cool. Being on the Leviathan is cool, and like experiencing these moments have been really exciting. So like, that's, it's one of those things that like, it feels rewarding for me, kind of seeing all that. And it makes me look forward to at least every week. I'm not playing, I've been playing a lot this week because Iron Banner's up and I'm trying to get the title and things. But I'm sorry. It's been effective in what it's been trying to do, and like it's almost upsetting, because I'm like, I didn't come here to feel things. I wanted to shoot aliens with these cool guns, and you're out here making me feel things. And it's like, you got to make up your mind, Punchy. But yeah, that's been that's the Destiny talk. Season's been really cool. Warlocks won the Guardian games. It was rigged. No, kidding.
Let's go Warlocks.
Trying to think anything else really put. I mean, Aperture Desk Job. I played that to completion almost twice now. It's too funny. It's you can play it. You don't need Steam Deck to play it. You can install it and still play it. And I highly recommend it. It's free. Highly recommend it. It's too funny. It's 30 minutes well spent. You will not regret it. I have been playing a little bit of Stellaris. They released some new content for that. I am having a horrible game right now where I have been cut off on one side by an empire with a fleet that is overwhelming compared to mine. And then my friend Uber is on the other side, and he kind of blocked me off. So I am isolated in a very small area of space. But my economy is very strong, and so I got that going. We're gonna make a federation called like the Small Business Union or some shit. No, I think we're gonna make Mom and Pop Shop is gonna be our federation, and I'm just like, yo, small business is about to thrive. Poor Cypher Tony. He has like 10. He's like a little blot on the map, and he's just stuck. And so someone declared war against him, and so he's up there taking all their territory. They've got an overwhelming fleet, and he's just smarter than them. So he's just capturing everything faster than they can catch him. And I'm in that war somehow. I can't get there, but we're in a defensive pact. So he's down there, and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even know I was in this war. And I can't help you, dude. I'm sorry. I physically cannot leave this area of space.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
It's fucking it's rough. It's been rough, but it's like, it's kind of exciting in a way, because it's like, can we get out of this situation? Because almost everyone is bigger than us now, and we're like, can we kind of like, we don't have a ton of galactic sway, but like we're kind of getting what we want a little bit. And then all these other factions, like they're trying to, this other faction, like this dude next to me is like, hey, we want to make you an associate in our federation. I'm like, that's really cool. I don't want to do that because I'm going to leave and join these guys, and I don't want to piss you off when I do that. So I'm going to just continue to ignore these very nice invitations. And then meanwhile, I'm trying to do espionage on this faction above me who is a fanatic purifier, which means they want to kill everyone who isn't them. So they're like a fallen empire start. So they used to like control, they're kind of like the Forerunners. They used to like control the galaxy, but then they got pushed to the brink of extinction. Except in this scenario, they survived. Now they're back, and they're very pissed. And so they're like, we're going to kill everyone now. And they've already killed like 3 people. And so I'm just trying to build star fortresses so that they don't come in here. Just do not come in here, dude. Stay away. I do not have enough resources to build a fleet. I cannot fight you. Stay away. I'm out here just trying to get my edicts and like get my little like civics going so I can, use less resources so I can actually build stuff. And then I accidentally took in a bunch of refugees because that's what my people wanted. And so these refugees, but I'm like these rock people, and they're organic. And so they needed food, and I did not have food. And so I didn't realize there was a situation going on, and I ignored it because I was like, hopefully they just die or something. Like maybe they'll just die at the end, and that'll be the consequence, and I won't have to deal with it anymore. And then so like I revoked citizenship and shit, and I was like, I don't want them to go anywhere. I want them to gradually. And then I had to get bailed out, and it was like, okay, you're suffering all these penalties for the next 10 years because you didn't buy food. I'm like, I didn't ask for this. I turned off all refugees. I didn't take anything. And then like my factions got pissed, and they were like, you're not doing the thing you said you do. And so I had to go back, and I'm like, fine, I'm going to I have all these resources I can't use maxed out. I'm just going to buy food. And so I'm just buying food to feed these people because I can't make food because all my planets are developed for my people who don't eat food.
That's such a classic you situation to be in. And
then they just keep growing. They just keep populating. And it's just like, now there's more. And I'm like, dude, like I didn't want this. But I'm trying to be, I'm a mega corporation, so I'm trying to do, the charitable thing, and I'm just, please buy our products. I
Please
don't know
be
what
excited.
I don't know what I'm doing. My race is a custom race. They're called the Honka Chonka.
Yep. Yep.
They're great.
Yep.
They're great. The Honka Chonkins. Lovely, lovely people. My start was great. Because it's basically we came from an asteroid that crashed into a planet and wiped out all life on that planet, and so we took it over.
But it was good for rock people.
It was good for us. And then one of the early events in the game was we discovered these little like microscopic life forms, and we scanned them and we put them all into a catatonic state. So we created the largest graveyard in the universe. And so my people had like guilt of genocide. So they were like -50, like they were pissed because they were just like, we killed all these things. And so I was like, no, we're researching our way out of this. And we figured a way to wake them back up. And so we saved them. And then we failed another thing where we were trying to move these species to another planet, and my ship was too slow. And they didn't make it. They burrowed further. We lost contact. I really tried to help them, but my ship was too slow. Son of a bitch.
Like, can you zoom in close enough to like see your rock people walking around and stuff?
No, you don't do that. But you can pull up screens like where you can see your leaders, and they just kind of like they have the portraits where they're just like,
Because I feel like it's a missed opportunity, especially for you and knowing you, to not like on the leader of your people, the rock people, just mod in Dwayne the Rock Johnson's face onto him. It seems like a given that needs to happen.
Big Honka. My leader's name was Big Honka Chonka, and when he died, we were all very sad. There was a moment of silence for Big Honka Chonka. Rest in peace, Big Honka Chonka.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Dude, man, every time they release new shit in Stellaris and I have to relearn Stellaris, I get really pissed off. And then I start playing Stellaris. I'm like, all right, because Stellaris is so cool because you get these storylines that develop and they're all dynamic. Like I know I've talked about this before too, but the coolest storyline I ever found was like I settled on this planet, and this planet had early in the game I found this weird like dimensional thing. It was like some weird shit's probably going to happen from this, and then I settled on a planet, and it kept replacing my people with different people, but they're still my people. So it's my species, and they're like the whole colony is new people who we have no idea who they are. But as far as they know, they've always been there.
Huh.
And it's just all this weird shit happening. And every time I turn around, it's like, yo, these people disappeared, but now they're back. And now these people are here. And now we've got 30 people that we don't know who they are, but they're here. And everything thinks they've always been there.
That makes me want to play the game.
Stellaris is so cool.
Is it like Sins of a Solar
It's
Empire?
real. It's just like Sins of a Solar Empire, except it actually runs. You can play a whole game. There's like way better diplomacy and stuff. So like you can like talk to people, like you can make your own species, and like you can make them be like, I remember at one point, like I made the Vex, and I was just like, we're going to be a genocidal hive mind, and everything dies. Yeah. And then you don't do that because everybody hates you. But then like, you make like, I made my little mega corporation, but then I can't expand, so everybody keeps getting like Casus bellies against me where they can like subjugate me because like I'm too weak. And I'm like, no, they just changed subjugation too, so now you have to make like agreements so you can give them more or less freedoms. So like used to be you just vassalize and they would do their thing and they would just have a kick up to you.
Right.
But now like you can just let them be like, yo, you can act in the galactic community, you can go do whatever you want basically, and we're just going to be like friends. Or you could be like ruthless dictator and just be like, I own you.
Right.
But there's a lot of
to my wish list to be on the lookout for sales.
Stellaris is such a fucking cool game.
Because the storyline stuff sounds just so
and it's
cool.
Sometimes you're going to get the same stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that happens every time, like, oh, we found these but like even that stuff, like I found a relic of an ancient civilization, and so my neighbors who took territory I was trying to explore for that, they were like, hey, we'll sell you this relic because we know you're looking for them. And so I bought it, and then later on they're like, hey, we're on really good terms, me and you. I already shipped this to your capital, you can have it. And I was like, oh, what a nice guy. And he's like, yeah, we really cherish our relationship, and so we want you to have this. And I was like, that's incredible. And so, like, those relationships develop over time. And so, like, you know, you're really good to your neighbors, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, we found this thing you're looking for. Have fun. And Stellaris is so cool about that stuff. And they keep adding stuff. And, like, you can customize all your own ships. So you can make, like, 3 types of battleships. You can be like, okay, this one is long range. This one is close range. This one is mid range. And they can all fulfill different battle roles. You can customize your fleets and be like, I want this many of this many of this, and that. So, like, you can get really granular with everything. Or you can just look at the broad strokes and just be like, I want to manage an empire. I'm going to have a crazy economy, which is how I like to play. You can let the ships auto develop themselves, and like you can upgrade them with one click, and you can like build a bigger fleet and reinforce them with one click, and the game just does it. And it's so, if you want it to be, it is so incredibly simple to play. And if you want all the nitty gritty, it's all there for you to micromanage.
Yeah.
It is my favorite 4X game. Fun. It is my favorite. And like, it's so easy to just kind of like, we were talking about it last night. We were playing Destiny, and, you know, Tony was like, man, he's like, I really want to get back into that game and I want to kick their ass. He's like, I'm going to take their shit. Man. And they just keep making more content, and all these free updates come along with it. So like every time they add new stuff, they release a bunch of stuff into the game for free. And like you can kind of interact with, so like I own all the it is one of the few games like that. I own every piece of DLC. Every time they release new DLC, I buy it. No questions asked. And so like even if you don't own it, some of that stuff can still exist in your game. Like Tony has a start. He has a fucking magic space dragon in his starting star system, and he just feeds it every once in a while, and like it just floats around and is like really chill with him. And at a certain point, you can develop a relationship with that thing where it will fight for you, or you can piss it off and it will destroy you, or you can try and kill it. But like, there's all these cool things that can happen in between. Like, there's these crazy events. Like, there'll be like these mercenary guys, and they'll be like, oh, they have unified under a great Khan, and this Khan is going to try and conquer the galaxy unless you stop him. And so this dude, one of our games, the last time we played, this race next to me, they were a megacorp. They were building robots. The robots rose up in rebellion. They lost half, like 60% of their empire to the robot uprising. They literally took their territory. And so they're split in half, and the middle is just this robot empire who's just like, we're not taking shit from organics. And I happen to be their neighbor and happen to be a robot. And they're like, yo, we're cool. You want to help us kill these organics? And I'm like, nah, I'm kind of like chill with them, but respect, I'm not going to interfere with you. You do what you got to do, you know? So I chose not to get involved, and I just watched this robot uprising happen, and then them desperately trying to fight it back. They lost parts of their fleet. They lost half of their economy, half of their territory, and like these dudes are just like, we're not going to take this shit anymore. And I'm like, yes, robot bros. It's just shit that happened, dude. And it's just like, it comes up on the screen, robot uprising in this empire. And I'm like, oh, that is the coolest thing. Dude, Stellaris is so cool. Like, there's so many stories to tell about Stellaris. And the coolest ones, you'll only ever get like once or twice. But when you get them, and you're just sitting there and you're like, What is happening? Because you don't understand, but it's so cool. Like on one of my planets, I met these like underground dweller things, and it gave me the option I could like preemptively attack them or make friends with them. And they were like, "Yeah, cool, we'll be friends." Then they asked me for guns. I'm like, "What the fuck do you need guns for? I'm on the surface. I'm up here. I have the guns." So I didn't give them the guns, and it was like, "This will negatively impact your thing." Then they came to me, they're like, "Hey, we need some food," and I'm like, "Food here, here." And then they start building a city underneath one of my cities, and they're killing people. And I'm like, you need to tell them to stop. I'm like, I'm not taking this shit from them.
So if I bought the game but don't have all the DLC, can I still play with you guys?
You can absolutely still play with us. You just can't use the stuff that is locked. So like there are there are ring worlds in Stellaris, and you can have a start that gives you a damaged ring world that you can eventually repair.
Oh.
You can make the Forerunners. It's just you can't interact with those things. So if you find a ring world and you don't have the appropriate DLC for it, you just can't interact with it.
So I see there's like a base Stellaris and then a Galaxy Edition. If I do get one, where should
Galaxy Edition, I think, includes like soundtracks and stuff, which the soundtracks for Stellaris, phenomenal. The music is one of those games I will never like. Sins got boring. I would play my own music over that sometimes. I do not do that in Stellaris because that music has a vibe. It's like a very like classic sci-fi vibe, and it's very inspired, and it's really good. Like it's so good. They have a music option at the top that you can toggle, so you can like skip tracks and stuff, so you can find your favorite music. That's how good the music is.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm gonna buy this.
It's so good. Check out some of my links there, guy.
Oh yeah.
Check out some of those. Like Green Man Gaming usually has excellent deals on Stellaris. Make sure you're using the new link. I have a new link.
Is it still underneath?
Yes, that link is up to date because the old link went to an old service, and Green Man Gaming was great. They emailed me and they were like, "Yeah, dude, we're just letting you know that you're using the old link." After they paid me, and they were like, "We're using the new one." And so like I responded to them and I was like, "Yeah, I did it." And the dude emailed me back in minutes. He was like, "I just approved you. You're all set." I was like, "Holy shit." Like I was like, "I'm some nobody." And they were like, "Yeah, no, we got you good to go. Just put that new link in and you're all set, my friend." And I was like, "Wow, you guys are phenomenal." Great partner, Green Man Gaming. Great partner. Someday, Green Man Gaming and HalfGen. Bigger partnership. Muy bueno.
Muy bueno.
I say that they're in Britain. They pay me in pounds. I get paid in Great British pounds every month. It's like, here you go, GBP. Fucking hell. See, man, like Stellaris, I could talk about Stellaris the same way I talk about Destiny, but instead of talking lore, I'm just talking about all the crazy shit that happens in Stellaris. Game is so cool. It's man. I'm trying to think if I've really been playing anything else. No, I think I've really just been playing. I mean, other than the games, I'm kind of dabbling. I'm not counting that. I'm not going to talk about every game I've booted on my Steam Deck. I've been playing the solitaire game on Apple Arcade. It's still really good. I don't know why I like that game so much, but I really do. It's after my break, I just play a hand of solitaire, and then I lose, and I start a new one, and I lose, and I start a new one, and I'm like, boom, done. I win. I'm amazing. I once won like 4 in a row. The high I felt like I was unstoppable, and then I lost like my next 8 games. Awful. Terrible. But I continue to pay for Apple Arcade just for that damn game. Just for that solitaire game. I'm like, I'm gonna keep you, Apple Arcade. I think that's really. I'm like looking around. I'm like, did I play anything on anything else? Yeah, no, I think I've just been playing Destiny and just dabbling on some Steam Deck stuff. Cool.
I've been playing a ton. What I have been playing, I don't remember what the trigger was because it was before the Scarlet and Violet thing. But I've been back into Pokemon in a big way.
Oh.
I think a lot of like YouTubers I watch that do Pokemon content, they basically play like modded.
I'm sorry. I remembered 2 games. You continue. I remember 2 games I was playing that I do want to talk about.
Would you like to
I
talk about them now?
no. I want you to finish. I feel awful. I was just saying because like I checked my Steam. I was like, I know I played other stuff,
Mm.
and they got pushed back because of the Steam Deck.
Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I was right clicking on the icon, and I was like, what have I played recently? It's all Steam Deck stuff. That's why Deathloop is on there. I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. Please talk about Pokemon.
Sure, sure. So I'm watching a lot of YouTubers play basically modded Sword and Shield to where they basically randomize all of the Pokemon in the game. So instead of finding like, I mean, this isn't one to one, but if you're playing Gen 1 and on Route 1 there's a Pidgey, instead of a Pidgey, it could be like a Mewtwo or something, and it's completely random.
That's
So
cool.
it's a lot of fun, just the kind of randomized aspect of it, to where they give themselves challenges like uh, they can only use the first like 6 Pokemon they catch, and then they battle and stuff like that, which is super fun.
So it's kind of like
So
not quite a Nuzlocke, but because it's
oh,
kind of like
a
that. But
Nuzlocke, yeah,
Nuzlocke, yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. No, for a second I was like, this is something I've never heard of before.
Yeah.
This is new. Um, no,
Nuzlocke.
it's kind of, except Nuzlocke is a full playthrough. This is just them like screwing around and getting a team and then battling each other, like two
Okay.
YouTubers.
Oh, okay. They're battling my
Yeah,
bad. Yeah. Okay.
no.
Wait, are they battling each other
So
with like level 5 Pokemon?
no,
Oh,
they max them up. Yeah,
that
yeah,
would be funny.
and also there's this cool thing. I don't know how it works, but they can get into the game files and like customize the Pokemon. So like sometimes they'll do ones where they'll catch a host Pokemon. So say they catch like a Mewtwo, and then the second Pokemon they run into is like the Juicer Pokemon. So the like all of the stats and typing of the original, the first catch will exist, but you can use all of the like the move set and abilities of the second Pokemon, and they go in and actually like change the appearances to like have like a fusion of them. So like it could be like a Charizard, and then the juicer Pokemon could be like a Pikachu, and they can somehow go in to this modded
Pikasaur.
version and like make Charizard like yellow with like black on the tips of his ears, and like customize the looks as like fusions, which is super cool. Um, but that's got me into Pokemon. So I got bought Pokemon Legends Arceus finally on
I
like a
have that. I
discount.
still haven't played it.
It is a great game for when you want to turn off your brain, and it's just like a checklist game. So like to complete like all the entries, like you have to do specific things for Pokemon like a certain number of times, like catch this Pokemon 10 times and it fills out the Pokedex, or see this Pokemon use this ability this many times. And it's like it's really good to like turn your brain off to, and I've actually really enjoyed it. I think I've put like 9 or 10 hours into it. But what I've put a lot more time into are actual randomizers that I've been playing on my Retroid Pocket 2 Plus. So I have like a Soul Silver randomizer and a Pokemon Emerald randomizer. So like the starters are completely random. All of the Pokemon throughout the game are random. So I've just been like going through and building teams and just playing through the game as normal, but all the Pokemon are completely random. All the gym leaders are random, the trainers are random. So it's like playing the game again for the first time. And so I've put like 13 hours into the Emerald randomizer. It's just a lot of fun. It like has reignited my like enjoyment of Pokemon in a way I wasn't expecting. And we saw the Scarlet and Violet trailer, and Scarlet and Violet looks like what I wanted Sword and Shield to be. Um,
Yeah,
it
it already looks way better than those games.
Yeah, like the two legendaries, I think both look pretty cool in the first place.
I think
And
that the
there's gonna
legendaries for Sword and Shield are kind of lame looking
Yeah,
overall.
they're just identical, one with a
But
sword and one with a
I
shield.
want the
But
Rocket Dragon, you know?
yeah, and I'll take the cape. People are saying that they are hypothesizing that they both turn into like motorcycles, because the other one has like a huge tire out of its chest, and
Yeah,
then the other one is like
I
exhaust.
would rather have the robot one than the organic one. I don't
Yeah.
want an organic motorcycle. That's a little weird.
Also, I like the hot female professor, so I'll get this. I'll get
I
the
know.
Scarlet.
I'm gonna take the. I guess I get the daddy.
You get the Chad. The
Get
Giga
the
Chad.
Chad Daddy.
But yeah, those games look
Is that
good.
the title? I guess I get the Daddy.
Probably. Yeah,
Okay,
just lock
well, I'm
that
gonna
in.
type that.
But the fact that they confirmed that it's a true open world game. So like in Sword and Shield, there were wild areas, which were large open areas where you could see the Pokemon going around everywhere. But this is open world. You can tackle the gyms in any order. And it has 4-player co-op.
Now,
It's, yeah,
one thing I don't know if they've made clear yet. Can you do the
yeah.
gyms in co-op?
That I don't know. You might be able to
Or
like
is it just like the
spectate.
open world? Or yeah, maybe you just do it one at a time. You watch your friends.
Yeah, maybe you
Maybe
do it one at a time. That which would be cool. I'd be
I
down
want
for
as
that.
much co-op as possible.
Yeah, and the way they made it sound, it was like co-op, 4-player co-op to go on adventures with your friends. Like it doesn't sound, it's not a standalone mode. It's like it's built into the game, and that's what I've wanted for so many years now. So I'm very excited for Scarlet and Violet. But beyond that, I haven't played a single damn thing. So that's it. You can go
Have you
back to your 2
heard,
games.
Ross?
Oh yeah,
There is a mod for Elden Ring,
yeah.
true co-op.
Oh,
It just
I
lets
have
you
heard that. Yeah.
it lets you join your friends. If you die, you respawn in that world. Everyone gets to use their horses. The only restriction is if you die in a boss room, you don't get to re-enter the boss room.
Okay, gotcha.
But
Okay,
you
so it's like
like
a
when you're
traditional
done
game.
with that boss, you fucking walk out of that place together and go on. So I want to get that. They turned off invasions,
Oh, nice,
and we
nice.
need to just all
Yeah.
play Elden Ring and
Did you
have a
beat Elden Ring?
merry. No,
Yeah.
no, I have
No.
not. No. Uh,
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to
man,
look into
just
that.
yeah, I don't know. My opinions of Elden Ring apparently aren't as crazy as I thought because I know a lot of people were like desperately in love with that game. But I think the open world nature detracts a little bit of my interest because the cool thing with like the Dark Souls games was you could just go and everywhere you went something cool was happening. And Elden
And you get
Ring
a sense
has
of
a lot
progression.
of
Yeah.
yeah, Elden Ring has that too, but there were like moments in Dark Souls 3, like the reveal of the Irithyll Valley and stuff like that, that like those kind of like take them in moments. And you know, Elden Ring is really cool and it has a lot of those moments, but there's just something about it. And sometimes it's just even the frequency of bosses. There's so many bosses in that game. And it's just like, you know, when you go into these caves and you know, okay, there's going to be 2 bosses in this place maybe or whatever. And, you know, it's just not it's not clicking that same part of my brain that Dark Souls did. Um
Mhm.
so, you know, it is what it is. I like it. I'm just not in love with it.
Yeah,
But
fair enough.
I did
So
want
what
to
were these 2
mention
games?
I have started Days Gone again.
Oh,
On PC. I picked
yeah.
up. I was a little worried because I picked up my save where I left off like last year, and I was like, boy, I wonder how this is gonna go. And boy, that game is still a ton of fun. I'm having a great time playing Days Gone.
Nice.
I went out and I tried to fight a horde, and I realized I did not have the ammunition to fight a horde right now, and so I had to book it. And then at one point, I'm like riding through an area and a horde spawned in front of me, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I'm like running, and this horde is on my ass. Like I went into this cave, and I was like, "I think there's a horde in here. Is there a horde?" And I just hear, "Ah, nah, nah, nah." I'm like, "Oh no!" um, but yeah, like I went through and like I'm in a point in the game that I remember vividly playing the first time, and like I'm still going through and like doing that stuff again. But it's really cool. I'm having a lot of fun, just kind of like finding all these little things. And like I found something that is a quest, and I got there. I guess I got there just a little too early, so the thing I need to
Mhm.
get up there isn't there. But I think I just got the quest. And the thing is like now I'm at a point in the game where it's like there's a camp I don't like because she basically like Tuck's camp is basically like she just makes they're indentured servants basically. So when you send people there, she puts them to work. And if you don't
Right.
work, you get punished. Um
Mhm.
and so I don't want to send people there. However, they have a machine pistol that I want and I have to get to camp rank 3. And so I'm turning in all my stuff there, but like I had these drugs and I don't want to give the drugs to her because she's going to use them to make the people work. So I'm gonna go give them to the crazy guy on the radio who tells you not to believe the lies and believes the government did all this. I'm gonna give them to him because he's gonna help me upgrade my bike. So, I like my bike. So, but I just more than anything, I love that game. That is the perfect like antithesis. That game clicks something in my brain where I'm like, yes, everything about this, yes. Love Days Gone. And then I also Tony and I started playing We Were Here Forever. And we put a good chunk into that game. It's a good game. Some of the puzzles are still a little like, they take a minute to kind of figure out, okay, we got to do that. And like there's moments in some of those puzzles where you're like, okay, well what are we doing? Like we got to a puzzle that like we had been playing like all day, and I got to a puzzle and I looked at it and I was like, I'm not doing this right now. I was just like, I can see what this is going to take. I'm not doing this right now. I was like, I do not have it in me to do this puzzle. There's like stuff rotating around like on this little river. So you got to send stuff to that side so he can do stuff, so he can send it to me so I can do stuff. And I'm just like, I don't have it in me right now, man. I can't do this.
No.
Cannot do this right now. This is I got to go to bed. Because it was like shortly after I had COVID, so I was still recovering from that, and I was just like, bro, I do not have this. But that game is good. It much like the rest of that series, very good. I think those were the only two really. I did finally start up. I played very, very briefly. Are you familiar with The Ascent? Came out last year.
Yes.
I started that.
Okay.
It's kind of a neat game. I only played like about an hour. I did have the DLSS on though. I had the ray tracing on, and wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty game. It's kind of like dual stick shooter kind of setup. It was fun. I heard some kind of mixed things about it. I wanted to play it, but I never got around to it because it had first it had weird PC performance stuff, and then it was on the Steam version got ray tracing and got it like DLSS and stuff, but then the Game Pass version didn't. So I was gonna play it on Game Pass, and then I never did. Then I installed it on my Xbox and never played it. And then there was a sale on Steam where it was like $17 for like the complete edition, and so I said, you know what? I'm just going to buy it because I know the Steam version got all the updates, got everything I needed. Eventually, all those other versions got it, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to spend the $17 just to have it on Steam and play it here. I finally got around to starting it up, and I had a good time. It was a nice little, again, kind of like a turn your brain off because the story is not super important. You're just running around in really cool environments, shooting things. I had a fun time. I will definitely be playing more of that. It's a game that if I'd known, I would have played a lot more of it last year. I might have just bought it last year to avoid some of the trouble. But yeah, there was always mixed things. Like it wasn't for a while. It wasn't running great on like Series X. There was performance issues, and then they fixed those. So I was like, okay, I'll just play it here because the Game Pass version, I hear weird things. But I guess they settled everything because the game ran great, and I had no complaints. So
as you were speaking, I just had a revelation.
Okay. See, we both have revelations when the other one is speaking.
It's true.
We're good for each other.
We are. We always have been. We always will be. But over the years, as I've had less time, I've fallen out of love with JRPGs and like committing to finishing them. The Steam Deck is the perfect thing for JRPGs. Like I put like 15 hours into Tales of Arise on PS5, and then I just dropped it.
That's installed on my Steam Deck.
But I feel like I would play through it on my Steam Deck because
that's what I thought.
Like Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, I was like, I played through this game on the Wii. It took me 90 hours. I probably won't play through it again. Let me get it and just mess around with it on Switch. And I put another 90 hours into it.
I need to start it still.
Yeah,
but I have
it's really good. It's really good.
I want to play 3, but I have to do this and 2.
Well, yeah, you don't have enough time to play through both of those unless you.
I'm not playing 3 at launch, but I'm gonna try.
Yeah, because 3 does tie both of those together, which I did not think would happen.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I think the handheld form factor will make me fall in love with JRPGs again, just because I don't want to be like locked into one specific place to play through a game anymore.
Two of the first games I installed on that were the Chrono Cross remaster
Yep.
and Tales of Arise.
Nice.
And I will probably at some point install Final Fantasy 15. I'm hesitant to install any more big games because Final Fantasy 15 is like 90 gigs until I get the emulators on there and know how much space that's going to take up. And then I'm going to end up playing Mega Man Legends anyway because I fucking love Mega Man Legends. And that you want to talk about a great RPG? Mega Man Legends. Make another Mega Man Legends. The climate is perfect for that game. A fun open world Mega Man RPG.
Yeah.
What doesn't sound great about that?
Well, Mega Man's just not relevant right now.
Make it relevant with Mega Man Legends. Dude, Mega Man Legends would be successful. Mega Man Legends would sell 2 million copies in its first week. Guaranteed. 2 million copies is not nothing. Yeah. Make Mega Man Legends. Remake Mega Man Legends. That game would be so cool, be so fun. Those Maverick bots would look so dope in 4K, like, whatever. Put that shit out, Capcom. Bless you.
Thank you. I would only play it if they use the Mega Man model from like Street Fighter V.
Sell it as DLC.
Yep.
Sell it as DLC.
But that's what we've been playing. Well, I think we're going to end on what we've been watching.
Do we want to just talk about Maverick first?
That's mostly what it's going to take up the time of, yes.
I have some anime to talk about and some television, but
okay.
Maverick.
Yeah, I also have a little bit, yeah. Top Gun Maverick.
Okay, can we just say, I'm going to put a timer on it, 2 minutes of spoilers?
Do we want to start with spoilers? Or do we want to... Before we get into spoilers, let's both briefly talk about our history.
We both did the exact same thing. We watched Top Gun the night before we saw Maverick. For the first time, we both watched Top Gun the night before we saw the movie.
It was fine.
That first Top Gun is poorly paced. It is all over the fucking place. It's like at least a half hour too short to do what it's trying to do. But
there are still enjoyable parts to it.
It's still a perfectly fine movie, and I would watch it again. But like, there's so many moments where I hear these like iconic lines, like the Need for Speed line, and I'm just like, that was it? He just kind of says that shit. Like, here's this iconic line that people are like, I feel the need for speed. And I'm like, he just says it randomly, unprovoked, out of nowhere.
It's like the revelation of the Armored and Colossal Titans.
And it's just like, but that's a good reveal. The movie's good. Tom Cruise is good in it. I'm not a big Tom Cruise fan. Like, and that's not like, I'm not saying that from a perspective of I don't like Tom Cruise. I just haven't established myself as a fan of his films because I haven't seen a lot of them. Yep. He was good in that movie. I think the romance subplot was whatever. I think the whole thing with Goose was the best part of that movie. I think Val Kilmer sucks. I think Iceman sucks. Hot take. Iceman is the reason Goose is dead. It's not Maverick's fault. If Iceman had gotten out of the goddamn way when Maverick told him to, they wouldn't have gotten caught in that spin. Goose wouldn't have died. It's on Iceman. And the fact that they're buddy-buddy in the second one, Iceman killed Goose. You cannot change my mind. Iceman killed Goose.
Okay, so let's get into Maverick then.
Dude, that's a fact. Iceman killed Goose. And they had the nerve to investigate Maverick. Fuck out of here. And then Iceman's a fucking admiral. Come on. He killed Goose.
Anyway, Top Gun Maverick.
Listen, man, that's the one thing I took away from that is that Iceman is a murderer. Tell me I'm wrong.
Top Gun Maverick's one of my favorite movies of all time.
It is. I've been telling people it is the reason movie theaters will continue to exist because a movie like that has to be seen. It needs the spectacle for your first view. Like, I saw it in IMAX. Every time they hit the burners, dude, the way that the feeling erupted, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was, you know, and story wise, it is an infinitely better film than the original Top Gun. They
Yeah.
took that original Top Gun and then they just made a better movie.
The story is actually engaging from beginning to end.
Yeah, they nailed it this time, and like even
Yeah.
the relationship, like the romance subplot
Mhm.
feels so much better. Even though I don't like it, kind of starts rushed, but it also like I think the way they imply the history and how that kind of comes back around ends up feeling really good.
Yeah. So
Like
there was something that I didn't notice at the time, but Tom Cruise actually mentions her name in the original Top Gun.
really,
Yeah, where him and Goose are like talking to their superior, and it was something like Tom Cruise like missing a flight or something, and Goose like leans over and was like, "Was it her?" and says her name. It was this throwaway line that they turned into like the love interest in this movie. Like in the original Star Wars, where Obi-Wan was like, "Oh yes, I fought with your father in the Clone Wars." Like they turned that into its own thing.
mhm.
Yeah, she was actually mentioned, the character. Yeah,
Okay,
which is
that's
neat.
really neat.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
that. I liked her too.
yeah. Jennifer Connelly's a great
Yeah.
actress. Yeah.
Um the only thing I didn't like is that Admiral, what was his code name? I don't
Oh,
even remember.
John Hamm.
He sucks. That movie.
Well,
John Hamm does not suck. His character sucks. That whole
I mean,
movie.
he's the stereotypical stuffy admiral, like the
But then
stereotypical
that's Top
military
Gun's big problem
character.
is that all the admirals suck. They're all of his commanding officers are the worst characters in the movie, and
Well,
like it doesn't.
well, they, yeah.
It, I don't feel like that necessarily does the Navy justice, but I digress. All of
Well,
his superiors, except for like that one dude, there's always the one superior who's like really got his back, and then there's all the other assholes who are just like,
yeah,
Maverick, if
yeah.
it were up to me, you'd be out of here. It feels like a 70s or 80s sitcom where it's just like, if it were up to me, you'd be fired.
Uh,
But I've got new orders for you.
I mean, to be honest, probably most admirals are much more by the book than what Maverick would be allowed to do.
I mean,
I feel like
most
that's
people
somewhat
in the Navy
realistic.
couldn't get away with what he does, but like, I think even the opening of that movie, I actually read something today, and it was from it was an interview with the director talking about how they pitched the movie.
Yeah.
This might be some light spoilers, but realistically, you probably, if you've watched the trailers or anything, you kind of have an idea of what's going on. So they pitched a Top Gun sequel, but Tom Cruise said no
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he's like, no, I don't want to do it. But then so the director came up with the idea for Rooster, which did not exist in the first pitch. And he said that the movie wasn't about, it was about Maverick being alone.
Hmm.
And it was about building this relationship with Rooster would be the overarching plot. And apparently Tom Cruise picked up the phone, called Paramount and said, we're making a sequel. And then it immediately got greenlit. So Tom Cruise fell in love with the script. And he had worked with this director before on Oblivion.
Yes.
So they had a history. And so, you know, Tom Cruise liked that script because there was something of value in it. You know, and so that was the thing, is that this time there were real emotional stakes and they came through. I just want to say that scene where Tom Cruise, like, you know, put 2:15 on the clock,
Yep.
that whole sequence, heart racing. I felt it. You know, ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. I was
Yeah.
like, edge of my seat, dude. There were people next to me in the theater just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Just watching it, dude. It was insane. And you could feel it, dude. Like, that was cinema you could feel. Like, every bank, everything. Like, I'm kind of feeling like, oh, am I moving with this? Like, every time he takes a hit, I'm like, yo. And like, dude, it was visceral. Like, it was just, it felt alive in a way that a lot of movies don't.
Yeah, what I love about, one of the many things I love about the movie is just the authenticity. Like those actors, Tom Cruise put them through training to be in the plane. Most of the time, the shots of the pilots in the plane, they're in the back seat of the F-18s while they're doing everything. They had
Yeah.
to as part of like the training for the movie, Tom Cruise had them like experience up to like 8 Gs or something. So like the actual actors had the film cameras in the cockpit with them, and they're the ones who had to start it and make sure it was running. They were like the directors when they were in the cockpit. They would go up and film for like 6 or 7 hours and potentially only use like 30 seconds of footage. But when you see like them in the cockpit flying, they're probably in the back seat of the plane with a real pilot doing those things, which is incredible.
And I always loved, and it was one thing that the first Top Gun got really right, is like just how real it felt when they were flying. Like I love when the guy's in the back seat puts his hand on the glass. I'm trying to spot him. I'm trying to spot him.
Bob's my
and
guy.
Like, dude, Bob is great. Bob is a real one. Like, dude, at the end at the football game, Bob.
It's so good.
Like
it's
there are so many feel-good moments in this movie, but
and it
like,
doesn't lean too hard on nostalgia.
But like,
most of it is its own original stuff that hits hardest.
I think the best part about this movie, how I felt, is the movie's not even about Maverick. It's about Goose.
Yeah.
So much of this movie is just about Goose and the legacy he left behind and like the wounds he left behind and things like that. And, you know, some of it, you know, definitely some of it comes off as a little forced in some ways, like, you know, pulling the papers and stuff like that. But like, there are so many moments of it that just feel like, you know, unfortunate, you know, I mean this in the nicest way, you know, in respect of the fictional character who passed away in the first movie. Like Goose's death is so important to this film, and it's what makes this film incredible. Like that opening scene where Maverick is alone working on that plane, and then he goes and he fucking hits Mach 10.
Yeah.
And like that whole scene, you see the windshield kind of melting away. That whole sequence is amazing. And then he's just like, a little more.
Yep.
And it's just like, it's so good. And then just like he keeps doing it. And I don't know how he keeps getting away with it. But Maverick is just an incredible character, an incredible pilot, and anytime he's in the cockpit is the best part of the movie.
Yeah, it's another fun fact is that the plane that he's fixing up at the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie, that's Tom Cruise's actual plane that he goes out and flies.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I think it's a P-51 like, Mustang.
I think so. It's like
it looks like a Mustang.
It's so tough because Tom Cruise is one of like the prime people of like the showcase of separating the person from the art. Like there's so many.
Tom Cruise is a weird guy.
There's so many problems with Tom Cruise as a person and a lot of the stuff he's said and done over the years, but his filmography is incredible.
I am a fan after Maverick. I'm like, yo, I got to watch these Mission Impossible movies because there's a new one coming out. And I'm like, yo, I got to watch that because I'm watching these movies. And I'm like, yo, I'm a Top Gun fan now. And I'm like, I got to check out Mission Impossible.
So I will get to that after we're done talking about Maverick because I had that exact same thought.
Okay. 2 minutes of spoilers. I want to talk about some of my favorite scenes. Okay.
Sure.
All right. The scene where Rooster's about to get got and he just inverts the plane and pops the flares. People were losing their minds, dude. Like, holy shit. People were like, oh my God. I'm sitting there. I'm like, what the fuck? And then he gets shot down. People were crying.
Yeah.
Like, people lost it. They were like, no! There were audible screams. People are losing their minds. And I'm just like, did he just die? And then, like, there's the moment they're like, do not engage. And Rooster, and I'm like, he's going to go back.
He's going to engage.
The fucking hind comes around, the missile, and you're just like, yo, Rooster. And then he gets shot down. And there's this emotional scene, the music, and he's like, are you okay? And then, like, I'm just thinking of the meme that Tom Cruise runs in every movie he's in. Yeah. And I'm just thinking of the meme. And then he just shoves him to the ground. He's like, what were you thinking? I didn't. You told me not to.
It was the three-pronged approach. It was Tom Cruise is about to get got. Rooster saves him. Rooster's about to get got. Tom Cruise saves him with the flares. and then Tom Cruise is about to get got, the Rooster saves him, and then they're both about to get got, and then freaking Hangman saves them.
Dude, no, but the best part is when they're flying in those two like Gen 5 fighters, and he's just they're like, you gotta take him down. He's like, hold on, hits the throttle, like hits the yoke, fucking owns that dude, just destroys that guy. He's up to 4 kills now, counting the first Top Gun. He is against superior aircraft. He's up to 4 kills. He just fucking murks that Gen 5, tears him in. And then the way like that dude dodges the missile, I'm like, yo, he's gonna shoot Maverick down. And then Maverick is just like, nah, watch this. Fucking takes this other dude. He's like, no, his targeting doesn't work in the ravine with the trees. And I'm like, dude, he is incredible in an F-14. Like, dude, he's in like a 3rd gen or like 3.5 or something. And he takes down 2 cutting edge aircraft. And then almost gets a chance at a 3rd.
It's the pilot, or the pilot. It's the pilot, not the
plane. It's the pilot, not the fight. And like the movie makes you believe it. Like that's the thing, is it's bullshit, because realistically, you know, a Gen 5 aircraft against an F-14, there should be no contact. But the movie makes you believe that he is as good as he is. And it just does such a phenomenal job. And then Hangman gets his hero moment, which I think Hangman was an asshole. I thought Hangman was going to get the spot, and I like that they didn't. But I like that they gave him a chance to be like, I'm not just an asshole. I can be a hero.
Yeah.
I like that he got a shot. That whole mission, dude, though, through the ravine, when Rooster's so like, good. And it's like, come on, kid, come on. And you just hear him, what do I do, Dad? What, you know, talk to me, Dad.
Talk to me, Goose.
Talk to me, Dad. You know, the whole movie, Maverick's like, talk to me, Goose, talk to me. And then Rooster, talk to me, Dad. And he just hits it. And he's like, I'm taking the shot. And it's like, no, don't. Fucking nails it. Movie moment, didn't care. That was awesome.
They couldn't get the lock on. He had to go Luke Skywalker.
You know he was going to get it.
Oh, yeah.
But it was perfect.
And I just love how to enter it, they had to invert and then go down, and then they had to basically hit like almost a 90-degree angle to.
And then like I love when he hit it earlier in the 215. He's like, now I've got 2 decisions. You know, you just took an airplane that may never fly again. He's like, so now I got 2 difficult decisions: to remove you forever or make you the team lead. Yep. And then Tom Cruise, and he's like, I think this is a part where I think it was a rhetorical question. He's like, oh yeah.
Tom Cruise was like, me?
But like, of course, Tom Cruise is gonna get the hero moment, but he earned it. Like he earned it in the worst way. He's like, do I court-martial you or do I make you the team leader? Because either way, this is jeopardizing my career.
2 of my favorite moments that we haven't talked about briefly. One where Payback blacks out from the G's.
Yes,
and Tom Cruise is just trying to like wake him up by locking on.
Like, wake up, Payback, wake up.
And it's like he starts like diving, and you're just like, how the hell is Tom Cruise going to save him? Like,
but he did the same shit in the other movie with Cougar, and he's just like, I'm going for him. Like that's his first instinct. I'm going back for him. Like he will not let these people fail. And like I love that about his character, is like he's such an asshole. I love at the end of the movie when he buzzes the tower. And the Admiral's up there, he's like, son of a bitch. And he just buzzes the tower, and I'm like, yeah, Maverick, let's go.
And then probably
classic Maverick.
Probably my favorite moment of the movie is after Maverick and Goose have been shot down, and they get to the F-14, and then it's Maverick and Goose flying again. It's him as in the back seat. It's Maverick in the front, and it's like he was flying with Rooster's dad again. And like I almost teared up at that.
I love the scene at the very end when like they're both working on the plane and Rooster goes to the wall, and like you see the picture, and it's the same picture he looked at earlier. And like, I'm like, he's looking at his dad. I'm like, oh no, that's Rooster. Because I'm thinking like it's the picture with his dad. And I'm like, oh no, that's Rooster. And then he moves his arm, and that picture's right there. And I'm like, yo, yes. We did it. That was the real battle.
They did a great job of making him look like Rooster's son.
They really did. Like they did a phenomenal. And that dude, I almost lost it when like he was having almost like the PTA when he's like, goodness gracious, great balls of fire. And I'm just like, of course he's singing that song. And then Tom Cruise just outside, just being like,
Oh god.
fuck, I'm gonna die. You know,
Yeah.
just like he's gonna have a
Yeah.
heart attack or something because he can't handle it. Um,
I,
that whole
the
movie just
the beach football scene where John Hamm comes up and is like, "We only have like 10 days, and you think this is a good use of our time? What are you planning to accomplish here, Maverick?" He's like,
building a team.
"Team building." It's like they're all individuals,
I love.
but they need to work
I
together.
love we have the hard floor, you know, it's not changing without my permission. He's like, so
Yep.
I have to you have to submit
I
it
love
in
that.
writing. Okay, sir. Okay,
Sir.
here it is. I'm requesting to change the hard floor to 500 feet. And he's
It's
just
so
like,
good.
you son of a bitch.
Yeah. Top Gun Maverick has entered into my top 5 movies of all time,
Top Gun
and
Maverick.
did not think it was gonna be there close.
I hope this movie, like, I know, rooting for the big corporation. I know. I hope this movie makes $1 billion. I want
Yeah.
this movie to be incredibly successful. I want this to be a movie that people look at and just be like, look, if you're going to make these sequels, make them better than the original because we can do it, and they did it. The cinematography was phenomenal. The acting was phenomenal. The writing was so much better. The pacing was so much better. Like top to bottom, that is just an exciting, shockingly emotional. Like it's such a great movie. It's not a perfect movie, but it feels perfect when you're done watching it. Like it's one of those movies where, like, you know, when you finish a game, it's like, I'm gonna play it again. Top Gun Maverick is one of those movies like, yo, I just want to sit here and watch it again.
Yeah.
Can I just buy another ticket? Can I stay? Like, can I just watch it again? Like, I'm walking out and I'm walking by the other theaters playing it, and I'm hearing stuff. I'm like, oh, they're there. That's a good part. And I'm like, oh, they're still early. They have no idea.
So a couple things is that Top Gun Maverick has beaten some Spider-Man No Way Home records. So Spider-Man No Way Home delivered, this is from the direct, delivered a $19.7 million haul on its second Friday, which is you always see the big drop
Yep.
off the second weekend. With Top Gun Maverick, the second weekend, 25 million. Only a 52% drop from opening day
Which
compared
is
to an
very good.
83.9% drop from No Way Home. I think it's Tom Cruise's best opening of any of his movies
Of his
ever.
career. It's his biggest, it's his fastest selling, it's everything. This is Tom Cruise's top movie.
Yeah, as of yesterday, and now I'm getting this from Cinema Blend. Top Gun Maverick has made approximately $390 million worldwide. The sequel is expected to hit 273 million on Saturday, which is today, at which point it will become Tom Cruise's highest grossing movie at the domestic box office of all time. And it's deserving.
It's well deserved. This movie, like, I can't wait until it's on Paramount Plus so I can watch it as much as I want. But
Yep.
I kind of want to see it again in the theater just because,
I'm going to see
like,
it in
that,
IMAX tomorrow.
dude, you're gonna love it.
I know.
I'm telling you, the IMAX. I knew it was going to be an IMAX movie, dude. You are going to love it.
I'm so excited.
I want you to text me after and tell me how much you love it.
I will. So yeah, that's Top Gun Maverick. It's
phenomenal movie.
It's like it will legitimately be up for like picture of the year.
It should.
It should, and it will be with how good that movie is. Anyway,
but yeah, that movie, that is why we still need movie theaters.
Yeah,
that is cinema at its peak.
Yeah. So after Top Gun Maverick, I was like, oh my god, I love this movie so much. And before, like you mentioned, they showed the trailer for the new Mission Impossible movie that's going to be split into 2 parts. So I was like, I should go back and watch those. I've never actually watched the Mission Impossible movies. So all of them but one is on Amazon Prime, I think through Paramount Plus. The third movie is not or something, so I rented it for $2 and just watched it. But I've watched the first 4 Mission Impossible movies. My rapid reviews. Mission Impossible 1, really good. Some corny moments. It's the mid-90s.
Yeah.
But one of the best like break-in scenes of all time, of like a heist scene.
Okay.
I would give it like a solid like 7.5, 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Mission Impossible 2, 5 out of 10. Not good. Not good. Mission Impossible 3 has some really good characters. I really liked it. It was a big step up from 2. I would give it like a solid 8, 8.5.
Okay.
And then I just watched Ghost Protocol today, which is the 4th one.
That one came out relatively recently,
2011, I believe.
Okay. Isn't there another one?
Yeah, there's yeah. I keep having to re-look it up because they're not numbered. So I always forget. No. You're good. You're good. So yeah. Ghost Protocol came out in 2011. Rogue Nation came out in 2015, and then Fallout came in 2018.
That's right, Fallout. Okay. Oh, there was another. Wow, they made a lot of those.
Yeah, and
Tom Cruise is doing pretty well for himself, I guess.
From 1996 to 2018 for the most recent released one. And so yeah, Mission Impossible 4, like a 8.5 or a 9 out of 10. With the exception of 2, they just keep getting better. And I mean, Rogue Nation, which is the 5th one, and Fallout, which is the 6th, just keep getting higher ratings, like on Rotten Tomatoes.
Fallout. So I saw a clip from Fallout, like that was really cool online. It was like some weird like projection thing where they're like projecting the hallway so they can like move.
Oh, that was from Ghost Protocol.
Oh, that was from Ghost Protocol. Okay, yeah, I saw that.
They might have used
YouTube.
It again in Fallout.
No, I saw that on YouTube. I thought it was Fallout because it looked newer.
It was like the red carpet with a statue at the end.
Yes, and they kept doing the drip sound. And I saw that, and I was like, yo, I should really watch these movies. But, like, I didn't have the thing. But now that I've seen Maverick, I'm like, okay, I want to watch that. Because, like, it was him and Sean, no, what's his name? Why am I spacing on his name? He plays Scotty.
Yep. Just immediately when you said you forgot it, I forgot it.
Fuck.
Hold on. Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg, thank you.
Yep.
I was going to say Sean Penn. I was like, it's not Sean Penn. Yep. I know it's not that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Simon Pegg, like
it's in there.
It's him, and I didn't recognize it was Tom Cruise at first because of the beard. So I clicked on it because I saw Simon Pegg, and I'm like, oh, cool, let's see. I didn't know it was Mission Impossible, and then I'm watching that clip, and I see him take off the beard and everything. I'm like, oh, this is Mission Impossible.
Yeah, you should watch those movies. They're good. You should even watch 2.
Yeah, no, I'll watch them all. I'm good because I got Paramount Plus. I mean, that's I might as well use it for something other than Star Trek,
and Halo. Woof.
If I can, are we good with Tom Cruise?
I think we're good with Tom Cruise. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Star Trek, Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
This is the Trek you should watch.
Yeah.
It has the production quality of the Abrams films, but it has the energy of a TNG. It has the character building. It had the first episode legitimately got me emotional because they're talking like without like really spoiling stuff. They're talking to this race and they're showing like human history and they're like showing like the Third World War and they're like, we almost sent ourselves to extinction. And they're like, but and I'm a sucker for this about Star Trek is the optimistic future. And that's what Star Trek has been missing for so long is the belief that Star Trek got in the muck where it was like, what if modern problems were future problems? And that's why Star Trek Picard season 1 is bad. Cause like they kind of made the androids into second class citizens and stuff like that. It's like, that's not utopian Star Trek. That doesn't feel like the vision of Star Trek. But this one is just like the kind of not the blind optimism, but it's just like we overcame this and we saved our world, we unified our people, and we built a federation. And like it was just one of those moments where I was just like, yes, and I was like kind of choking up, and I was like, this is fucking Star Trek. And like it's got such a great energy because it's the Enterprise, but it's Pike is the captain. And there's stuff like they reference in the first episode related to Discovery. So I'm like, now I got to go watch Discovery, because they connect. But I've heard Discovery's really, really good now too. So I'm just sitting here. I'm like, yo, like, but it is fantastic. The production quality is up there. The characters are all great. Like I have unfortunately fallen behind on it because I just, now that Halo's been over, I just haven't had I've kind of taken a break from the shows because Halo really, really let me down. But I do want to go back and I want to catch up on that and I want to stay up to date. It is phenomenal. And like every episode, like I haven't been seeing spoilers or anything, but every episode people are just like, the show keeps getting better. It is, nice. It is the definitive modern Trek experience. And if you're going to start Star Trek, start here.
Okay.
I feel like it is the perfect entry point for somebody who is Trek curious. as it may be.
Fair
Um,
enough. Fair enough.
I can almost guarantee you'll have a great time because
Yeah.
it's got the quality, it's got the cinema elements, it's got the jargon, it's got that energy that made Star Trek so good in the 90s. Like that season 3 next gen on, like it has that energy, it has those characters, like you really feel like, and like Pike is dealing with this thing where like it's part of the series part, but Pike has seen his death and he knows when he knows when and how he's going to die, and he's dealing with that while captaining the ship and having to think about that in the back of his mind of like, what if this does, what if this sets me on that path. And
Mhm.
so you're dealing with a man who's dealing with an unknowable trauma. He knows how he dies, and it's like he has to captain around that, and it's really cool. But
Right.
like he's got such a great energy. His actor is phenomenal. Like he's just got, and like I think Kirk does show up at like the end of the first episode as a lieutenant, so they're setting him up to take over. So maybe they end up in like a crazy like reboot scenario. Um,
Mm.
Fantastic. And just so you know, like that's a reveal, but that's far from the best part of even that episode. But it's like there's a lot to it. It's really good. You should absolutely watch it. And
I would
it's
definitely do that.
they're exploring again. And that's the
Yeah.
best part. They're exploring, dude.
Yeah.
They're on the 5-year mission. Um but
Is
yeah,
it,
like Trek is back, man. Star
mhm.
Trek is back, and Star Wars is, they're finally getting some of their footing with television, but I tell you what, Star Trek is going for their throat.
I
Trek remains the king of television.
I was going to jump on after you were done with Star Trek onto Star Wars because their TV offerings have been incredible so far, and that is extended into Kenobi, which is now 3 episodes deep out of the 6. Ewan McGregor is phenomenal. He's such a treasure to Star Wars. He just embodies that character, and those 3 episodes, you think, and this isn't really much of a spoiler because it happens pretty early on, but you think it's him on you think it's Obi-Wan on Tatooine, just like babysitting Luke and like watching over him. It's more of Obi-Wan and Leia and a story they craft, and like from
So they're building up why she would want to reach out to him so desperately.
exactly, yeah,
Okay.
where this is I think, and he's dealing with, this is 10-year-old Luke and Leia.
Mhm.
So not only that, not only is it going someplace else that we didn't originally expect, but at the same time, it's also, it has a child actor for Leia who is amazing. It just feels like it's Carrie Fisher as a 10-year-old.
Oh, that's
Like
amazing.
like she is not annoying at all. She has the sass and like the like just I'm going to do this because it's right type of deal without being cheesy. Um, it's really good so far. At the end of the last episode, episode 3, there's a big showdown, and yeah, it's, I mean, from the Mandalorian when that first came out to the Book of Boba Fett, which was also phenomenal.
Really?
Now to
You
Kenobi.
I heard okay.
So
I
the,
tend to trust you more than random people, but I from what I understood from the Book of Boba Fett is that was generally not well received.
so the first 2 episodes, I fell off after the first 2 episodes because it's very slow and it
Okay.
doesn't go anywhere. And then I came back to it and it ends so strong.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, those are the 3 that have been out so far, and then you have Andor, which is on its way, which focuses on the character from Rogue One, the main character from Rogue One. Then you have Ahsoka, which has Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano, who's the best character in the franchise. And then Skeleton Crew, the Acolyte, Lando. Like they have a lineup, and the quality of the series so far has been very good at worst.
I just
So
I just love that we're back at a point in our lives, Ross, and this is when everything's at its best. It's Trek versus Wars again.
Yep.
It's the Trek Wars. And we finally have the two franchises finally fighting head to head.
Yep.
And they're both putting out some of the best content they've put out in decades.
It's fantastic.
And they're doing it right now. And to be a sci-fi fan right now, it's a fucking renaissance, dude.
Yep.
Because you can't ask for the two biggest franchises with star in their name ever. Duking it out for your television time, making both of their respective services well worth the cost of entry. And I can't wait till next year when I cry at every episode of Star Trek Picard Season 3, because they said there will be scenes where they're all on the screen together, and I'm losing it right now just thinking about it. They're never going to be together again, dude. This is going to be the last one. I can't wait. I love them so much. I'm losing it, man, just thinking about it. Seeing all them together. God damn it. Picard Season 3 is going to be so good.
Yeah. Well, let's move on.
Fucking hell.
I don't have much else to talk about. In terms of anime, I've started watching Razafon, which is, people are saying, is like kind of a knockoff of Neon Genesis Evangelion. We've been going a long time.
Yeah. Actually, we're not going as long as I thought we were, to be honest.
Yeah.
We're only at 2.5. I thought we'd be at like 3 hours or something.
Well,
I know that's not nothing, but I'm just saying I'm surprised it's not more.
Razafon, it's a 26 episode series. I was 8 episodes deep before I was like, I feel like I'm falling off, and then I watched 2 more episodes, and I'm like, I still don't really feel like I know where the show's going. So I haven't watched it in a long time, or a couple of weeks. But my intent is to get back on it and finish it so I can move on to the next one. And then the only other content that I've been consuming is the One Piece manga. I'm 150 chapters in, and it's like, I'm starting to see why people like that series so much, because yes, I still don't love the art style, but the actual character building is so good, and just the world building is so good. So yeah, it's like 1,000 something chapters. I'm on like 150. So I'm chipping away at that every now and then, but I think that's it for all of the content I've been consuming.
Okay. So I have started so let's pick up where I left off last month. So I finished Log Horizon Season 2.
Nice.
It's very good.
Nice.
It was about on par with Season 1.
Yeah.
I watched Season 3, didn't realize it was over until it looped back to Episode 1, and I was like, that's fucking weird. It was only 12 episodes. Now, mind you, Season 1 and Season 2 came out like a year apart back in like 2014, 15, whatever.
Yeah.
This came out like last year. It was only 12 episodes, and it kind of sucked. I'm going to be honest with you.
I didn't even know there was a Season 3.
It was not great at all. They brought back most of the voice actors, which was good, but they did this weird thing with why am I spacing? Oh my god, I can't think of her name. The ninja lady. Oh my god, this is hurting me. I'm in physical pain trying to think of it. My brain.
Ninja lady.
I can hear him saying it in my head, but I can't bring it out. Like,
you can't make out the word.
Oh my god. I can tell you like every other character, but
you can just
like,
say Ninja Girl. That's fine.
No, I feel this is bothering me now. Anyway, she has like this weird like girl power trip going on now. So she's just like out of the blue. Huh? No, Shiro's the main character. Then there's Naotsuku. Then there's Marielle.
Not Akatsuki?
Akatsuki, thank you.
Which was confusing because that's the name of the like big criminal organization from Naruto. So
yeah, Akatsuki. So she like has this thing now where she just like girl power, And like she'll just be like, it's their feminine power. And she'll just say this shit in normal conversation. She'll just be like, yes, I've utilized my feminine powers. And he's like, what? And she's like, you wouldn't understand, master. And it's just like, this never happened in season 2. Season 2, she went through a great arc where she's like figuring out like, oh, I've never raided. I'm not as strong as these people. I need to get stronger. And then she gets stronger. And then they change her personality almost entirely in this season. And like the best part of it, can I spoil it for you?
Sure.
The best part of it is, and this is going to sound really messed up. What's her name? Minori finally confesses her feelings for Shiro to him. And he just says, I'm sorry. I'm in love with someone else. And they allude to it being Akatsuki, which is where I expected things to go. And now, mind you, also, he's like an adult, probably like in his early 20s at this point, and Minori's like 15, 16, which, you know, is what it is. And also, this was the point where I learned she was voiced by Lucy Christian, which is why I think she's great, because Lucy Christian is a phenomenal voice actress. But she's like, oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, I'm so sorry. I can't, you know, share those feelings with you because, you know, I have them for someone else. And she's like, yeah, no problem. And then like, you know, there's the moment where she breaks down and cries with like the others. And it's, you know, it's like sad, but I'm like, that was like the best moment of this whole season. And then it's over. And I'm just like, that is where we're ending. Okay. I'm like, this season, not good.
Lost funding or something.
Well, it had also been like 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah.
So like, I get it, but like, I like how they kind of ditched the love triangle, but like, it was just weird, man. And then like, they spend a lot of time talking about like this other faction who I don't give a fuck about. Like, could not care less about these people, but they're trying to make them be super important. And I'm just like, go back to season 2 when there was like some drama and there was still some politics and there wasn't a bunch of bullshit. Cause like the problem is like they have like this thing where they're trying to figure out how to get home, but they're also like, you know, trying to protect their memories and stuff like that. Season 3, they just throw that shit out the window and they're just like, we're going to die as many times as we fucking have to. People are going to throw away their memories for power. And I'm like, what are you even doing anymore? And then like, it sucks. It kind of sucks, man. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
I was really let down. Is the long and short. I did start watching at Nat's recommendation. Aharon-san wa hak. God. Okay, hold on. Aharon-san is what we're gonna say. Okay. And it was a show he told me about, and is these two characters who are very bad at conveying their emotions. And I watched the first episode of that, and I don't think I ever laughed as much at an anime as I did that. Nice. And they just keep raising the stakes, and it's just so stupid, and I love it. And it is so funny and charming. It's almost exhausting.
It's exhausting how funny it is.
Like, dude, it is so good, and it's like weird slice of life. And it's just really good. Like, they have this whole crisis where they're moving seats, and he's like, things won't be the same between us. You know, we're not going to be able to sit next to each other. We're not going to be able to share my book anymore. And then like they move the seats and she ends up in the same spot and she's still behind like someone too tall for her to see past. And he's just like, well, that was anticlimactic. It's just like, it's really dumb. There's like this creepy girl who's like her friend and like thinks he's poisoning her mind and shit. And he's just like, I'm just trying, like his whole goal was like, he came to high school. He's like, I'm going to make friends with someone finally. Whoever I'm sitting next to, I'm going to be best friends with them. And he starts talking to her and she's like talking, but he can't hear her because she talks so softly. And she's like,
it's that show. Got it. Yes,
yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
And it's just like the whole day, he's like, I don't know what you're saying to me. And she's just like, very funny. Great show. Spy Family. Continuing to watch that, gradually beginning to dislike it. Really? Because I feel like it's getting into a bad loop of like, it's just kind of feeling samey from episode to episode. And it's, I feel like it should be better.
Yeah.
And it's just like, there's a new episode today. I'll watch it later. But like the last episode I watched, I was just kind of like, normally like the good shows, they feel like they're over in 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
This one felt like an hour.
Yeah.
And it just wouldn't end. Contrary to that, Love After World Domination is my favorite show of the season and continues to get better. I'd recommend that to anybody. It is just feel good, delightful. Their characters are so dumb and so silly, and they're great. Just as a fun little thing, just as an example of the wonkiness that happens, they wanted to mix Decimi with a gorilla.
Huh.
And she had to make a very serious decision of, should I do this? And she felt like the right thing to do was to do it. The whole time she's like, it's going to be really weird dating, for him to date me when I'm a gorilla. And that show continues to be my favorite thing to watch every week. I finally found a show that really fills that Attack on Titan hole.
Nice.
The Titan-sized hole in my heart. No.
Identical type of show.
Yes, exactly the same thing. It's, heartbreaking. No. But yeah, that's about it. I don't know. I think I talked about Picard the last time. I don't remember, but Picard season 2 ended and it was really good.
Yeah.
It was a perfect emotional finale to that season. And for some character arcs, and it was great. And TV has been good to me as long as we don't talk about Halo.
Yeah.
The show was fucking awful. They had so much potential. Kai is still great, though. She is the shining ray of hope in a pool of darkness. Kai, make a show about her. The show should be about her.
Let's not talk about Halo anymore. I think let's wrap it up. I have a wife yelling at me about meatloaf.
What?
Allie's like, when are you gonna get out? I made a meatloaf. I'm like,
okay. Let's get you to the loaf. Yeah, that's an episode right there.
Yeah.
God, we talked about a lot, and it didn't take as long as I thought it would. Let's see how this edits out.
Yeah, we'll be back next month to talk more movies. Hopefully, Chris will have watched some of the Mission Impossible stuff by then.
Tom Cruise-a-thon.
The Tom Cruise-a-thon.
Cruise it or lose it.
I have an anime that I would like Chris to watch once he's done with Ohara-san very much, which is Jujutsu Kaisen. And I need to watch a bunch of stuff. I keep reading.
You should try at least because it's on YouTube for free. If you're not, I don't know if you're subscribed to Paramount Plus or not.
I am, yes.
Oh, okay. You should watch the first episode of Strange New Worlds and just see how you feel about it.
Sure. Okay.
I cool. Genuinely think you'll like it.
Yeah, I think I will too, to be honest.
Yeah. Guys.
Yeah.
We did it. Hopefully it'll be the end of this month like it's supposed to. So we'll actually record June's episode in June. We'll see how that goes.
Time will tell.
But thank you guys for watching and listening. We appreciate. I know we talk a lot about the video, but we appreciate you audio listeners just as much.
Indeed.
But yeah, we will catch you on the next one. Until then, take it easy. Don't forget to follow. We never talk socials. I want to get better about that. People should follow us so they can see us tweeting about Tom Cruise.
Yeah. True.
I usually show it at the bottom. I am at Nightmare CV. He is at RP Orlando 91. I know his tag better than him, so I say it.
Okay. Shot for no reason.
Last time you couldn't remember it.
It's changed a couple times. Anyway, talk to you next month.
Official HalfGen. Later.